hit subscribe. Subscribe to my guy, Uncle D. Tell him Big Bass sent you.
Spurling. I'm an attorney here in Houston, Texas, an advocate for black men, largely because I am a black man. I'm a black father, I have black sons. Hey man, I do what I do.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope the sound is better now. I think you guys will agree that we had some sound issues the other day. Man, the sound was tripping, man. Uncle D is happy to be back here with you guys. I took yesterday off. I knew it was Super Bowl Sunday, so I wanted you all to enjoy some time with your family members and whatnot. Make sure you check in. Let me know where you're checking in from. I want to make sure we acknowledge Mr. 43TX. And who else have we got in here? Sleepy G2011. Thank you so much. And also Michelle Hollock. Welcome to the membership. You guys make sure you join the membership. I got some good stuff over there in the membership circle. And I want you guys to make sure you go over there and check out some of that stuff from way back in the day. All right. And either way, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about a tough subject. And, you know, I had a broadcast here the other night, and I referred to it as Saturday Night Fights, okay? And the Saturday Night Fight, I had several people come up, and shout out to everybody who came up to visit with me on Saturday Night Fights. I appreciate you guys. You know, the thing is, feedback is important. Honest feedback is important, especially people who are not just here to hate, but they actually enjoy the broadcast. Because I'm here to make the people happy who enjoy the broadcast. You know, if you're not gonna like me, you're not gonna like me anyway. All I do is talk about history, but whatever. You can't make everybody like you. I'm cool with that, and I'm only here to try to work with the folks who want to learn. And I'm here to do the best I can to bring information to you to kind of help you put the puzzle of life together, you know, try to figure out what is this thing about? What are we doing here? How do we get here? And so one of those things is this. I've always wondered, like, why is it that, you know, Arabs and Jewish people don't get along? Like, why is it that white people who are Jewish and white people who are, I guess, regular white, somebody type regular white in the chat room, why is it that they don't get along, you know? It's just a question, you know, because for the most part, black people, especially foundational black Americans, we only know one kind of white. we pretty much know this is white, and then, you know, that's it. It was not really deviations of white. And so I started asking myself questions. I start, you know, digging, and then, you know, of course, you know, I think that there's other people who might be interested in kind of understanding the historical background of those relationships. And the other thing, a big question that I've always had is, why are black people Muslim? Okay, why are black people Muslim? You know, when I look at Islam, it's you know, it's a religion predominantly celebrated by people who are, I guess, it started in Arabia, right? Or in the Middle East, as they call it. And, you know, the other thing is, you know, I'm well aware, and I've been well aware for many years now, that the African slave trade started with Muslims. Literally, Muslim slave trade. That was the whole Sahara slave trade. That started with Muslims, Arabs. And so my question is, you know, why is it that they expect black people to, especially foundational black Americans, why is it they expect us to come to the aid of the people in Palestine or as they call it, Gaza? Why is that? Now I can I know people like to have us behind them. I get it. We have a lot of Latinos here in this country that want us to stand behind them right now that they're catching hands from ICE, and we got a lot of people that want us to come stand by them. But I wanted to dig deeper, and my conclusion is that we're not responsible for, the genocide in Palestine, On top of that, I don't see why any black person would actually feel obligated to do that, especially considering the history of those folk, you see? So, here's the thing. What we're going to do is we're going to dig deep into the Arab slave trade, okay? And I think two things are going to happen when I finish with this broadcast, because, I know we have our own black Muslim tradition here in the United States. We have a lot of people who are members of the Nation of Islam or associated with the Nation of Islam. And I know that we have a lot of black people who are black. And I'm not here to attack anybody's religion, but I am going to point some historical facts out, okay? Some historical events that have occurred at the hands of the people who are Arab and call themselves Islamic, okay? And you can judge for yourself. Now, I think what's going to happen is it's going to be an eye-opener. And somebody type POC in the chat room, not AOC. Somebody type POC in the chat room. People of color. This term that's been foisted upon us, this people of color term, would have you believe that you have these natural allies in people because their skin is a bit darker. But I think what you're going to find is that that's not true, especially when it comes to the people who call themselves Arab. And I think you'll realize that there's a difference between what we think happened in history and what actually happened in history. Also, shockingly, all my black people, I want you to come in here. All you white people who come in here, I want you in here too. But black people, I think, in my humble opinion, and you heard it here first from Uncle D, I think we might, and I'll gather the committee together later, I think we might owe white people an apology. Yeah, I said it. I think, well, they've done their own crap, okay? But I think we've held white people's feet to the fire without the proper context. I'm telling you, look, just when I finish, you're gonna be like, damn, white people did that? Yes, I think you guys are gonna figure out, and I'm not gonna say it, but I will call a committee meeting, and I'll get all the blacks together, me and the rest of the blacks, and we may have to send a formal partial apology to whites. Whites, we're the whites. Are there any whites here? I want all the whites to come in here. I think we may have to, you might get an official, unregulated, unspecified apology from the blacks related to the issue of slavery. I think. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I gotta talk to the people first, but I think we might have to issue them a apology. After we go through this historical assessment, I think you guys are gonna have some reassessment to do. Okay, now that doesn't mean go out and get your snow bunny. That's not what I'm telling you, fella. I don't want you to run out and get your white girl. All you divestors who come in here to hate on me, go hug your white boy. Go hug your husband. Go hug him. But I think we might owe white people an apology as related to the transatlantic slave trade and slavery in Africa. Okay, to a certain extent. I mean, they did their thing, right? But I think you guys are going to realize they were kind of Johnny-come-lately. They just kind of were, I don't know, how do you say, they were patronizing a black business, so to speak. But we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back, and we're going to get this thing rolling. Y'all hit the number 1 button. Make sure you check in. And remember, Like, share, subscribe. I need some people to subscribe to the channel. Before I get back, I'll be right back. What's up? Welcome to the broadcast. This is Uncle D. People wash their ass in the tub, Kamala Harris.
You would tune in to Uncle D. D's Black Man Talk. Pull up, homie, take a seat. Don't be a shadow watcher every day. You learn something and you earn something. Let them know and drop some money in the plate. It's getting cold, ladies, talking ratchet. There's a king here, grab your coat, zip your jacket. Keep quiet for a second, close your jaw. Turning Spurling, this ain't Furling, know the law. Talking Constitution, pushing pins when he shootin', give him that. Masculinity, just for the record, sprinkle that. You can keep your cat, gotta cut it. Only cat he rubbing, gotta love it. I call it Molly Buddy. Gotta vote your interest, voting earns. Presidential, this is for the money that I earn. When you gon' learn, my people, that evil mixed with evil. No matter what you're doing, baby, this ain't equal. Sometimes when you're special, you get hated. The test is for the best, you're damn right, my people made it. Uncle D, Blizzard King, you've been served, gotta notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you've been served, get your notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you've been served, get your notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you've been served, get your notice. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now.
Hey man, I do what I do.
Somebody need to whip your ass.
Get up and whip him, sweets.
Hey, don't be putting the money in my hand all rough.
Take your ass out here. You buy you a Floby and cut your own damn hair from now on.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. So tonight, I want to again welcome everybody. My name is Dennis Spurling, and tonight I want to talk to you all about, and wherever you are tonight, tomorrow, this morning, I want to talk to you all about something uncomfortable but necessary. I want to particularly talk to my foundational Black American brothers and sisters because we have a special relationship with the institution of slavery because of our history here in the United States. But I want to talk to you, and Islam, but I want to talk to you all about Gaza. I want to talk to you all about the silence around it. I want to talk about the lack of urgency and the way outrage shows up for some people and disappears for others, okay? And what's happening in Palestine is horrific. It's horrific, and the level of death and destruction and human suffering is clear to anyone paying attention before, going any further, okay? I wanted to say that. And I also need to say something very plainly. Foundational Black Americans are tired. We are resting, we are rebuilding. And for once, we're focused inward on our families, our stability, and our future. Even so, people keep pulling us back in emotionally, morally, and politically while refusing to face how they speak to us, how they treat us, and how easily anti-Black racism gets brushed aside when it becomes uncomfortable. Now, recently, there was a woman who traveled to Palestine, and she said she felt disappointed in Black Americans because she expected us to be her strongest allies. She believed that because we understand oppression and occupation and racial profiling, our support, it should be automatic, and that belief caused the first problem, see? Black Americans don't exist to serve other people's causes, okay? We don't function as emotional support for the world's pain, especially when the same world feels comfortable excusing racism towards us. Now, this young woman accused Black people of competing over suffering. Somebody type, what's it called? The Victim Olympics. That's what she said, okay? And she accused us of using a Western view of race as if there's any other view, right? And she described Black Americans as privileged outsiders who needed to accept that others suffer more, okay? Now, FBA understands power very well. We live inside a racial system built, protected, and spread across the world for hundreds of years. And one thing remains very clear to us. Racism ends the conversation as far as we concern. We find out you Y'all got clan cards. We pretty much done with you. Okay? Matter of fact, our culture is tuned in to sniff racism and bigotry out when nobody else sees it. We can tell by the way you clench your purse. We can tell by the way you look at us, you gaze, words that come out of your mouth. We know. Okay? So that's a no-go zone for us. So when we hear about when we hear about anti-Black racism, whether it sounds casual or dismissive or condescending, we shut down on that. Empathy fades, urgency fades, emotional energy disappears, and at that point, people face the results of their own worldview. And that results comes from cause and effect, and that results comes from karma, if you will subscribe to that. Now, FBA descend from people enslaved in the United States, and that history forms the backbone of political awareness in this country. We didn't arrive recently. We didn't come as guests. We don't borrow someone else's point of view. We stand as the reference point for how racism works in the modern world. Civil rights laws, human rights language, and anti-discrimination rules grew from our suffering, our labor, and our fight for dignity. When people speak at us instead of speaking with us about oppression while brushing aside anti-Black racism, their message becomes clear. They want our pain without our presence. They want our history without our dignity. And they want our support without our respect. So many people struggle with this truth. But Black American solidarity never appears automatically. People have to earn it. And they earn it by confronting anti-Black racism inside their own communities with the same force they demand for us to do it on their behalf. See, they earn it by refusing to treat Black people as disposable allies. They earn it by accepting that we carry real trauma and deserve care for generations, foundational Black Americans' inner struggles where we were expected to sacrifice and then disappear. But today, we rest. Somebody type, we rest in the chat room. Today, we build families. Today, we build wealth. Today, we protect our sons and our daughters. Today, we choose peace where chaos once lived. Now, people try to drag us back into the emotional conflict while showing disrespect, and then silence follows. And that silence never means ignorance or lack of care. Sometimes silence means we see you. We see what you're going through, Latinos. We see what you're going through, Muslim people. We see what you're going through, Somalians and Caribbeans. We see what you're going through over in Palestine. We see a lot. It's not that we don't see it. It's not that we don't understand it. We clearly understand what's going on. We just refuse to accept mistreatment in the name of someone else's freedom. That response reflects boundaries. Now, what's happening in Palestine, because that's what we're dealing with, it grew from a long history. The conflict reaches back to 1948 when Israel formed as a state, and hundreds of thousands of Palestinians lost their homes in an event called Nakaba. Okay, and that really, it just means catastrophe. Okay, and since that time, Gaza and the West Bank have lived under military control and blockades and limits on freedom. Look, I've been listening to this old Gaza Strip every 10 years for my whole life, for 50 years. There's always something going on over there. And the truth is, these people have been fighting each other for thousands of years. Okay? Now, Gaza faced a severe blockade since 2007, and they restricted their food, their medicine, their basic supplies, and violence escalated again in October 7, 2023, following an attack by Hamas inside Israel at this music festival they were having. Okay, they took girls, they took men, they unalived people left and right, and since then, Gaza has endured constant bombing, large civilian death tolls, mass displacement, hospital failures. It's a horrible thing. Children are dying over there. Tens of thousands of Palestinians, including men, women, and children, have died. And much of Gaza, it's in ruins. And you know, you have all these human rights groups and organizations and legal experts, and they've raised these concerns about war crimes and genocide, you know, and for the most part at this point, you know, the global reaction has been underwhelming, you see? Now, again, this represents a chapter in this long saga, okay? Now, here's the thing, and I'm gonna let you guys see this little lady right here, this little angry little lady. Y'all hit the number 1 button, let me know you can hear her clearly. And just so I can kind of let you guys see what's going on. And I know this is gonna be, you're gonna learn a lot. I'm gonna try to get you guys there as fast as I can get you there. But I think by the time we finish with this, you're gonna have a much better understanding. Shout out to Block.
From my trip to Palestine, but I certainly did not expect to walk away with racial tensions between myself and the Black people in our group. And that's really disappointing for me to admit, because I was so excited to go on this trip with Black Americans because I...
All right, so here's the thing, and I've explained to you all that the people around the world understand the moral authority that we have. And it's not just the fact that we're good people, it's just the fact that we're resilient people. You know, we make stuff cool, okay? If Black people get hooked on to something, everybody else is gonna follow on. We make the name brands hot, we make the music hot. We're the cool people on the planet. So if we get hold of a trend, then we're gonna win. If we get hold of a new style and we embrace it, it's good, okay? So what I want you all to know is just remember the power and authority that you have. So she was excited about having Black people come over there to Palestine. Most of y'all can't point Palestine out on the map. You don't know where it is. It's like the armpit of, you know, the Mediterranean Sea. You don't even know where it is. One of the little dots on the page, okay? But on the map. But what I'm saying is she was excited. She thought we were gonna come over there and say, oh, look at all these poor people and look at all these sick kids. But what the Black folks did, what we do, they went over there and sized the place up, and what they saw was what she didn't want them to see, okay? They got a close look at the up-close racism that's going on over there in Palestine, in Gaza. Now, keep in mind, these people are Muslim, and the Jewish people, you know, they're Jewish. The people in Israel are Jewish, and these are Muslim. And Muslims traditionally have not treated Black people very well. And it's not just some passive stuff. It is literally embedded in their culture / religion. So I'm gonna let her finish complaining. Somebody type complaining, and we'll get back to her in a minute.
I was always under the impression that Black people will be our greatest allies because they understand more than anybody what it's like to live under occupation.
Translation, I was understanding that these Black people would jump in front of these tanks and bullets and do the best. They would be the ones that sacrifice themselves for us. That's what I was understanding. All I had to do is come over there and give them some fried chicken and watermelon. I'm sorry, too much. All I had to do was come over there and give them some 40 ounce and a pack of Newports, and they were just gonna be like, oh yeah, we with you 100%, play girl. Come on, you got some rap music and strip club around here? It didn't work like that, apparently. Apparently it did not work. Let's keep listening.
What it's like to be oppressed and racially profiled. But during the trip, it felt like some people were too busy playing Oppression Olympics.
What do you mean, Oppression Olympics? What do you mean? Did you mean they went over there and saw how poorly you all treat the Black people that are in Gaza? Like there's Black people there, you all treat them horribly? Is that what so the Black people from here, because we call them tethers and Black immigrants, but they're still Black. And we know if you don't like they Black behinds, you're not gonna like our Black behinds either. So we were like, oh no, you see that? Why the Black people live? I know what happened. I know what happened. It was some people from Detroit and Chicago and Atlanta, and probably a couple people from LA. And of course, it's gonna be some people from Ohio, okay? And let me see, who else? Who else is out? Philly was probably there. And they was like, why are the Black people living like y'all? So y'all getting towed down by these Jewish people, and y'all still treating the Black people over here bad? I don't know. Let's keep listening.
To fully grasp the experiences of Palestinians living in Palestine. Some people came on the trip.
They did. They grasped the experience of the black people in Palestine, living in Palestine. You thought they were just going to come over there and look at the white Palestinians. And I'm not saying they're white. I'm not saying they're white. But we know black. When we see black, we know black, okay?
With a very limited understanding of the Palestinian people and the Palestinian cause, which is problematic in and of itself. But the most problematic thing was the fact that some people were applying—
Somebody typed, some people—
a Western lens of racial dynamics to a place where it does not apply.
So you telling me racism stops in America? You said, so there was no such thing as the Nazis. There's no such thing as, what do y'all call us? Habib? What do they call us? Habib? What's the Jareer? That's just all made up, right? Got it. Okay, so there's no racism in the Middle East. That's what you're telling me. What about all those black women from Ethiopia being treated poorly in Saudi Arabia? What about those people? They're black people too. Somebody typed some people in the chat room. She's probably talking about some black women. That's probably what some black women probably checked her real hard. Like, why the black people sitting over there all messed up like that? Y'all like that? Y'all all poor. Y'all all poor. You got us way out here. We want to see the whole experience. Don't hide the whole experience from us. Let's keep living.
I am not going to sit here and deny that anti-Blackness exists in every single part of the world.
No. Oh, but hold on a minute. You just said we were looking at it from a Western racial dynamic, and now you said you're not going to deny that anti-Blackness exists in every part of the world, but we're only talking about the Palestinian part of the world right now. Does it exist there? Because you had the nerve, the unmitigated nerve, to bring a bunch of black people from America, and we had our racial antennas up. Racism, bigotry, and then you mad because we sorted it out. That's what you mad at? Don't be mad at that. Don't be mad at that. That's what we do. You shouldn't have brought us over there if you didn't want us to see what you didn't want us to solve. Go ahead, little lady.
But the issue of race is much different in Palestine than in most other places in the world.
Oh, really?
In Palestine, Palestinians of all colors are undoubtedly the most oppressed people. In Palestine,
But it seems to me that the most oppressed people in the world are still oppressing the black people in their little small world of Palestine. I think that's what it is. I think it's not like, it's like y'all getting pooped on by one group and then you all are pooping on the black group within your groups. We know what's happening. We know what's happening. We see it. I mean, you want us to not see that? You don't think we're going to go over there and identify with black people when we see it happening? But go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Non-Palestinian black person is more privileged than a Palestinian of any color. And in
a non-Palestinian, what did she say? Let's listen to this hot mess again. Go ahead, little lady.
Is more privileged than a Palestinian of any color.
She's
most oppressed people. In Palestine, a non-Palestinian black person is—
in Palestine, a non-Palestinian black person. You mean an American? You mean like a black person who just came there from England or something like that? Is that what you're trying to say? What we want to know about the Palestinians. How are the Palestinians being treated? The black people in Palestine, how are they being treated? The ones that have to be there, okay? Y'all got them over there cooking and cleaning and scrubbing camel feet, and I know what you got them over there doing. They over there, making shish kebabs for you all, 1/4 of the price. That's what's going on.
Is more privileged than a Palestinian of any color. And an American, black or white, is one of the most privileged people in Palestine, right beneath Israelis.
Yes, we know, because we are Americans. Anywhere we go, we're going to be pretty much the most privileged people on the planet. We know that. You don't have to tell us. Those of us who travel, we know very well. And when we show up and say, no, I'm a gringo, you got that almighty American dollar, we're going to get treated well. Not that you all like us. right? Not that you all like us, but you know, we have a president who is crazy and it'll pop off. You understand what I'm saying? Shout out to DJT. We know he gonna send the people in there if something happens. All he needs is a reason, okay? But again, you still haven't addressed the black Palestinians in Palestine. How are the black Palestinians being treated? I'm not worried about how you treat me when I show up. I better get that first class A1 treatment. I better get that 5-star treatment out here. I know you ain't got no food right here, but I can better give me a steak with a bone in it, okay? And all the little fixings on the side, because I know what I'm supposed to get, okay? Because I am an American. You understand me? I'm talking about how are the little black Palestinians being treated over there? Y'all got them over there shining camel humps, right? Y'all got them over there doing all cleaning sand dunes. I know what you got them doing. I know what you're doing over there. I know what you're doing. And the brothers and sisters went over there and say, nah, y'all might be getting treated bad, but you all treating these little black Palestinians bad. I don't care about how you treat the black people who are foreigners. We speak English, we have cell phones and a lot of money, and we can go back and tell our congressman, man, forget them. Y'all fake, y'all try to pretend. Y'all try. It's easy to treat me nice. I got money. You see what I'm saying? I speak English. I can hop on the internet and talk to 1,000 people and say, man, forget these people, man. I help you get your cash app up. Okay, I can have a fundraiser to help you get about $4,000 or $5,000. You know what I'm saying? Help you get your kid through you know, get on through that first year tuition. But I'm talking about the little black Palestinian. That's who we want to know how you're treating over there. She's skirting around that issue. You see what I'm saying?
Some people in the group were too busy victimizing themselves and taking out their anger on all the wrong people to sit with the reality that in modern day, there are some people that are more oppressed than them.
Why the Palestine flag? This is Pan-African flag, red, black, and green. Yo, shut up! I didn't even know. Marcus Garvey, right? It's black people who live around here, disenfranchised, black diaspora. This is our rallying call, right? It's all that matters, right? That's what this is for. It got nothing to do with Palestine. Hell yeah. Palestine, I'm saying Hamas, Al Jawiya, they running through doing the same thing that's being done to them. They slaughtering men, women, and children in the Sudan right now, so I could give a fuck.
Oh, okay. Well, he said a lot. So, you know, again, okay, what I want y'all to understand is she's on the internet complaining about the fact that she brought some black Americans over there, and you know, they didn't really empathize with the situation. They must have saw something and said, no, hell no, that ain't right. So the thing you have to understand is there's a reason for that. Okay, it's the reason that because these people are what? These people are Muslim, and no matter how bad off they are, they think that they're better than you. And so this is what we're dealing with tonight. Y'all hit the #1 button, and let's go ahead and take another. Let's keep looking at what the and again, these people are Muslim, so these are black Muslims over there. All right, so let's take a look at what some other Muslims have to say. Y'all hit the #1 button.
Very sad to see people who claim that they are Muslims, where they claim they are Muslims, where they are not. Unfortunately, they are not. And Allah.
And the theme says Arab Muslims claims that these black Muslims are not Muslims for choosing their race over their religion.
May Allah guide them to the truth. May Allah bring them back to Islam, because unfortunately they think that they are in Islam, where they are away from Islam. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, told us.
Now, this is a brother over in Great Britain, and he is a member of the Nation of Islam, and he's like, you know, the minister over there in, I believe, England or something like that. Let's keep listening.
1400 years ago, there will be a time a man will lay down in his couch like his so-called Elijah Muhammad and will say, we accept whatever being revealed in the Quran, and we don't accept what is the Sunnah. And then the Prophet, peace be upon him, he said, by Allah has revealed to me the book. And
Now, I'm not really going to get into the Muslim religion or faith, anything like that. I just want to point out that this is an Arab man, and he is saying that the Muslims in the Nation of Islam are not Muslims, according to them, Okay, but I'm gonna be honest with you, the only Muslims I know is the bean pie selling Muslims with the little bow ties on. I've been cool with them for years, okay? They always cool with me. They got little tapes, little magazine, little newspaper. It's always been cool with me. Those are the people in my community, and I will never let a religion separate me from my black brothers and sisters, okay? Let me just run that back to you because I know it's a lot of people out there that say I'm not black, you know, I'm Muslim, or I'm not black, I'm Christian, or I'm not black, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, but I'm never gonna let a religion separate me from my foundational black American brothers and sisters, okay? I just want you to know that. I think that's an intelligent position to take, okay? But let's go ahead and let the...
And similar to the book, which is the wisdom of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which Allah has inspired him. And yet, those people, they say, there is no wisdom, there is no hadith, and that's what they wanted to reach. And that's why, my brothers and sisters, those people, they are away from Islam. May Allah guide them. May Allah guide them to...
Maybe it's a reason that they don't follow. I don't know. Maybe there's... and I don't know. I'm not here to speak on anybody's religion. But I'm thinking maybe there's a reason that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, nah, we ain't really trying to go with that old world Islam, because maybe it's a little bit too much racism in it. Maybe it's a little too much blood on your hands. I don't know, because I'm not here to talk about religion, okay? I'm just here to talk about historical facts that we can look at, okay?
May Allah guide them to Islam. But they are a disbeliever. And if they greeted us with Assalamu alaikum, we respond to alaykum, as our Prophet, peace be upon him, told us how to deal with the disbeliever. May Allah guide them.
So again, the whole point of this is that this Arab-looking Muslim is saying that these black men who are Muslims are not Muslim enough for them. That's what he's saying. They're not Muslim enough.
Wallah al-musta'an. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right, so let's look at some more. Let's look at some more evidence, because to me, seems like, I don't know yet, but it seems like a little taste of racism, just a tad bit, okay? Maybe a smell of racism, okay? I don't know all the way yet, but we need some more information to confirm. Hit the number 1 button.
You into black guys?
Now, is you into black guys? Now, that's the Ebonics translation. Are you into dating men of African descent? That's basically what was said. Now let's hear what this non-black looking Muslim says about dating black guys. Okay, let's keep listening.
That's not religion.
I'm sorry.
What?
Yeah.
You said it's against your religion?
It's against this lady says it's against her religion to date black guys. So I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, okay, even if you're a black Muslim, it's against your religion to date a black Muslim, even if you're a woman that looks like that. So, you know, here we are putting race before religion, I guess. I don't know, okay? But again, I'm just here to go over to some historical facts. But I want to help you all understand, you know, let's sort this bigotry out right quick and early so we can get it out the way. Because we need to understand motivation.
When did it become against Muslim religion to date black guys?
This is how it is, my friend.
She says how it is, my friend. That's what she said, my friend. That sounds mighty American to me. That sounds mighty redneck to me. Can't date N-words. My daddy won't allow it. Do you have a pickup truck? Did your daddy have a Confederate flag underneath that, underneath your little prayer rug? I need to know. Is that what you got? Because it seems pretty racist to me.
Hold up, wait. Y'all, when did it become in Muslim religion you can't date black guys? So you telling me you can't date me because you a Muslim?
Yeah, my family would kill me. I'm serious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not joking. They are really, really strict family.
It's not.
I don't know. Maybe she need to cover her whole face up. Because this is not a good. This is not a good representative. I'm just saying. Is this why they keep their face covered up? Because this is what they look like underneath them little masks and whatnot. I mean, I don't know. I'm a Baptist. I'm a Southern Baptist. And when I go to church, women had their heads covered with these big hats, and they sit in the front so you can't even see the preacher. But and it's like a contest who could wear the biggest hat, especially on, Women's Day and then also First Sunday, okay, Easter Sunday. The hats are huge, and if you mess around and get there like 35, 40 minutes late, then you're gonna be sitting way in the back, and it's hard to get people to scoot down. Okay, so you might have to, okay, come on, scoot down. And typically, so they don't cover their faces. All right, but this is not, this is not a very homely looking, it's a handsome young lady right here. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's keep on pushing forward.
I think your family lied to you. I think they just racist.
That's what I think.
Classical law, it seems like one can own a slave. So can you talk to me about that a little bit?
Yeah, and this is rooted in the Quran itself, that since the Quran has left it open as a possibility that people could own slaves, well, who are we to...
So this gentleman is saying the Quran has left it open for people to own slaves. I wonder who the slaves could be. I wonder who the slaves will be. If the Quran has left it open for people to own, I wonder who the slaves could be. I wonder who they think the slaves could be. Hit the number 1 button if you know who the slaves could be.
Cancel it altogether. We human beings have no say in what God has allowed.
So when you ask the question, why didn't Islam abolish slavery? Because this mechanism is important for society.
Why didn't Islam abolish slavery abruptly? Because then it would create chaos, anarchy within the society, the social fabric of society.
But it's still going on now, sir, respectfully. Somebody type Abib in the chat room. Somebody type Abib in the chat room. All my Abibs and Akatas and Jarirs. Shout out to all y'all. We ain't warmed up yet. We still here. We just getting, because we gotta understand why this lady from Palestine thought, the non-Palestinian blacks get treated well. If you're a black man from America, we treat you well. If you're not from here, right? And then come to find, but she never said anything about the ones that's down there. I'm just saying, let's keep listening. Let's hear some more. We need some more evidence.
Force Islam on anybody. Even if you look at history, Muslims never forced Islam on anybody.
Are you sure about that, sir? Are you sure you sure? I don't know if force is a subjective word. Okay, let's keep listening.
Means literally the slave of Allah. And that in the language of the Arabs, all black peoples are called abid, plural, for slaves. While much has been written concerning the transatlantic slave trade.
So apparently, I don't know. I'm not talking about folk religion. I'm not gonna whip out a Quran. I'm not gonna compare verses. I'm just saying, could this be motivation? Could this be motivation? Right? Shout out to Ryan. I appreciate you. So I gather that these folks' interpretation of their religious books, number 1, leaves it open for them to have slaves. Number 2 says that black people should be saved. What's the word? Abibs. All you Abibs out there, all us Abibs. We've been Akatas, Abibs, Jarirs, N-words. They find a reason. Any reason is good enough to come. They just go they just want to get us to work. Why don't they do their own work? Why don't y'all do your own work? So the rest of the world is lazy. The only people that want to work are black people. Is that what's going on? But let's let the fella finish with this explanation.
Surprisingly little attention has been paid to the Islamic slave trade across the Sahara, the Red Sea, and the Indian Ocean. While the European involvement in the African transatlantic slave trade to the Americas lasted for just over 3 centuries, the Arab involvement in the African slave trade has lasted 14 centuries.
Damn, hold on a minute. So the big bad white man, the big mean bad devil evil white man participated in slavery for 300 years, And the Arab man, you know, the POC, shout out to all the POCs out there, the POC, right? The POCs from the Middle East have had this thing going on for 1,600 years. Is that what you're telling me? And we don't talk about that at all? I mean, they got a whole name for black people, Abib. We can't be FBA no more. We just Abibs to them. Yeah, you a Jamaican Abib. You're Trinidadian Abib. You a Ghanaian Abib. You a African Abib. All you Abibs. Get in there and herd my goat. That's basically what I'm hearing. Am I not hearing what I'm hearing? That's what I thought I'm hearing it.
The birth of Mohammedan Islam and its conquests brought about the birth of institutionalized, systematized, and religiously sanctioned slave trade.
Hold on a minute. Systematic, religious. So you telling me that they used this book, right, to create systematic racism? I thought White Zaddy was the one that came up with all that. I thought the white devil came up with all that. You telling me the Arabs systematized it when the white man was, what y'all say, the white man was walking through the what do y'all call it? He said, crawling through the caves and jungles of New York, of the Caucasus Mountains, and the Arab is already out there with it? Is that what you telling me? Hold on a minute. Hold on. Y'all told me the white man invented systematic racism. Y'all, that's what y'all told me, all you pro-blacks. Y'all told me it was the white man and the Christian man who came up with slavery and has been the greatest oppressor of blacks since Adam and Eve. That's what y'all told me. And now this funny sounding dude is telling me that the Arabs have systemized racism and slavery for 1,600 years before the white man even showed up. That's what you're telling me? Why didn't we learn about this? Why did anyone tell me about that? Why? I want to know why I didn't learn this in Black History Month. I'm trying to understand, okay? But anyway, let's go ahead and proceed. Okay, let's proceed. And all you weed smokers, you're going to need one. You're going to puff past to your homie. Go
on
ahead.
A massive and global scale. In fact, the Quran allows the taking of slaves.
We don't force Islam on anybody. Unlike what happened in the Inquisition, where they forced Christianity on people and so on. Or
I'm going to disagree. Y'all just come over there and take over people's land. That's what you do. You don't force them to take. You don't force them to take on Islam. You just take their land and stuff. Is that what you telling me, sir? Y'all just come. Y'all just show up, park your camel, hop out. They're like, nah, you ain't got to be like us as you sharpen your sword. Is that what you're telling me? Because there's a lot going on. Y'all did a lot of conquering. You did a lot of conquering. Let's go.
Crusaders that massacred people and so on. We know.
Die Araber bringen bereits im 7. Jahrhundert den
We ain't hurt nobody. We just showed up. We just showed up and had a camel barbecue. It was all good.
Islam nach Afrika und mit ihm die Sklaverei. Denn wer kein Moslem werden will, wird als Sklave in die muslimische Welt verschleppt.
They said whoever refuses Islam suffered a bad fate. That's what they say.
17
I'm getting two different stories, you know.
Millionen Schwarzafrikaner trifft dieses Schicksal. Die Geschichte dieses Menschenhandels ist in
I don't know what the little German lady is saying, but she's like, he lying. That's basically what she was saying. So let's go on to the next video. I'm just saying, I'm learning. You guys learn? I'm learning some stuff, man. You can't date, Muslim women can't date black dudes. According to their interpretation of their religious book, it says something about all you Habibs can be slaves. Okay, it's left open for interpretation. Okay, well, let's move on to the next one. Let's see what else somebody else has to say. Okay, well, you know, slavery's over, so it don't matter no more, right? Slavery's over. A slave market. They still got a slave market? What? 80,000, they still got slave markets in Mediterranean? Oh, no. What you mean? They still selling black people in Africa right now? Hold on a minute. Why are we not hearing about this? So I'm trying to understand. I thought slavery ended in on Juneteenth. I thought it ended on Juneteenth. I didn't know we still have slaves right now. That's hold on. We need to have a conversation. Let's keep listening to the conversation.
Colonize many countries and you impose Islam and a god from Arabia on those countries that you went.
Now he's saying they came over to their country in Africa and imposed Islam. The other dude said we don't impose Islam on anyone. But he's saying that's not what happened, sir. Okay, I'm just pointing out the inconsistencies in the testimony. Okay, so let's let him finish saying what he's saying.
Allah was not known in Africa. It was known only in Arabia because Arabic language, right? The Jews never mention Allah in all their books.
Look, I don't know nothing about these religious texts or anything. I'm here to talk about the history and some dates. Now, what I am trying to understand is motivation. What is the motivation behind your racism? Okay? That's what I'm trying to understand, okay? Because that's going to tell me a lot.
The best you can get close to is Elaha, which is not the same anyway. So, the name Allah is not known by...
Y'all hear that music playing? That's that good music.
Any of the previous prophets. It's a new name, and according to the Torah, we don't need to follow a God that is not known by our forefathers. Now, for you to say we Africans worship a white man, it shows you are ignorant. Why I'm saying you are ignorant, respectfully?
He sounds just like Idris Elba, doesn't he?
It's because Jesus is not from Europe. He's from Israel. They are not white people.
We are not white people.
The fact that some idiots make a picture of a white man and they bow to is against the Bible, so you don't call them Christians and you don't impose that on me. You don't know me from anywhere and you say I'm worshiping a white man. That's where I said I was offended and I need you to apologize.
Okay, all right. So it sounds pretty racist to me so far. I'm thinking racism. All right, they sound pretty racist to me. Now, typically, in my studies, when I see racism, patriarchy goes along pretty tough with that. So let's see if there's a little patriarchy going on in there. That kind of tells you a lot.
Ali Dawa, what do women get in heaven as far as Islam is concerned? Check out what he had to say.
In your Quran,
Yes.
you get the men
Yes.
go to heaven
Yes.
and they get sex.
Yes, they get intimacy.
Virgin.
Yes. Yes.
What about my woman? Do I get a man?
You get yes. If you don't have a partner, you get a husband.
A husband? Forget a husband. I just want sex. Hello. You're not getting a wife. You're getting sex.
So she's saying she's basing her question on the fact that she's understood that when Muslims die, or Muslim men die, they get a certain allotment of virgins. And so she's asking this question to this dude. And she's like, well, why is it that I don't get that? She said, you going to get a husband. She said, I don't want a husband. I don't want a husband. I want to get broke off behind the pearly gates. That's what she's saying. That's what the little dirty-minded old lady is saying in the wheelchair. Okay? That's what she want to get up there, get broke off. She want to get caved in. That's what she want. She want that whole thing bust wide open when she get to heaven. As soon as she walk through the front door, when she get to walk through after she see St. Peter, she want to go check in her room, get in a little hotel in heaven and lay down. She want to lay down and spread them wide. Okay? She want her feet pointed the wrong way behind her ears. That's what she's saying she want. This was on her mind when she get to heaven. She don't want a husband though. That's what she's saying. This is what she came up with. I'm just looking at the video. Y'all got TikTok too. Okay, this is what I'm saying on TikTok. I'm just asking questions. Okay? Don't get mad at me. Family friendly.
Sex, okay? Let's not confuse
Okay.
husband and
Yes,
wife
yes,
and marriage
yes.
with sex.
Yes, but should I tell you?
sex.
Yeah,
So
She look nasty. I'm gonna just say the way lips looking like that. Boy, she done did something strange for some change. I can tell you that.
the man gets 90 virgins.
No, 72.
What about me as a woman?
One second. You get a husband.
She said, what do I get? A husband. She don't want a husband.
No, I don't want a husband. Hello, I've had a husband. I don't want a husband. Sorry.
Okay, let me tell you.
She want that monster. She wants somebody out there in heaven with a monster. Okay, that's what she say she want. When she get to heaven, she want a pelvis rearranged. Lady, she want that little spot, that little back door. You know, y'all got that little spot up in there. The back door is closed when you go up too deep. You know what I'm saying? And you like, you know what I'm talking about when you sitting up there and you mess around and get your feet, slip your feet out from up under you sit a little too low on the deck. That's what she want. That's what she want. She want that thrill, that feeling up in there. She want to feel that, I don't even know how to explain it. That's what she want. Want you get up, you want to touch the bottom of your soul up in there. That's what she want. Ain't that something? Woo. Boy, I tell you, that's what you hold that, boy.
I, as a woman,
Yes.
get when I go to heaven in the name of Allah.
No,
what do I get? What's my reward?
No, it says I want to get that.
No, what do you mean you don't know?
No.
Hello, she says she doesn't know. Hello, I'm asking the question.
I'll answer.
You're not in this.
I said, shut up. I don't want to talk to you. I want him to tell me what I'm going to get. I want him to tell me what you be quiet. I want him to tell me. You a woman, stay in your woman's place. That's what sounds like sexism to me. Sounds like
You're out of it. Well, not you. Let's hear him.
Yes. I'm going to keep that.
I'm trying to move away from that conversation.
Okay. But, your headache. But I'm sure you'll be blessed, lady. I'm sure.
I'm blessed anyway. I'm talking about Allah, not blessings.
Yes. So
I'm not just talking about blessings.
Yeah.
I get blessings anyway.
She said, I don't want no blessings. I get blessed anyway. I want that vitamin D. That's what she said. Nevertheless, the way in which this gentleman's interpretation, and look, you guys can come in and tell me I'm wrong. I'm not Muslim. But it sounds to me like that's pretty patriarchal. Men get, if I told you, if you go in there, man, you go up in there, man, you're going to get 72 virgins. And the woman, you're going to get to be you're going to get a husband, you're going to be cooking and cleaning in heaven. That don't sound like heaven to me. But I'm just saying. Well, let's move on. Maybe there's somebody else who can shed some more light on this situation, okay? Because I'm coming to some conclusions, and I'm thinking, right? Maybe, and as I said this earlier, I'm thinking maybe we missed something in our Black history class. Maybe we missed a little something in our Black history class. Y'all hit the number 1 button.
Take a look at this right here. Look at this. All of this land that you see highlighted in green, all of that.
He's being sarcastic.
That is land
That's the land that the Muslims conquered, okay? That's a lot of land.
Was conquered between the 7th and the 9th century by the white man. Look right here.
He's being facetious. That's the land that was conquered by the Muslims, okay? Look at it. Now look at Europe up there in a little corner, little armpit of West Asia. And look at all the land the Muslims conquered and took over. All the way across North Africa, Libya. And see right there at the top of next to, right below Italy, they had white slaves up in there. They had white slaves, but we'll keep listening.
Look. Okay. So.
What happened, bro?
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, so that Egypt, okay. We got Morocco, the Berbers, yeah. I'm sorry, folks. No, that ain't the map for the white folks. No, I'm sorry.
Now, just to be clear, that's the land that they conquered, but they raided also, all the way down, okay?
This is the land, many nations and tribes that have been colonized by
Muslims.
Islam.
Yes.
So wait, just
Isn't that
No, because I'm sure that it, is the white man.
Somebody type colonize in the chat room. Somebody type colonize. I mean, I'm sorry, we can only call white people colonizers. So, but he said colonize. Okay, somebody type colonize in the chat room. Somebody type colonizer in the chat room.
And is the colonizer, but how did they get all of that land in just 2 centuries? They got all of this.
They got it all.
I mean, if this was a modern map, I would probably put a lot of that in green as well, too, right there. Right there. United Kingdom, I see you. Ireland, I see you. Germany, Belgium, I see. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well,
colonizer.
I mean, that's awkward.
Colonizer. So you telling me the white man is not the only colonizer? I thought, are you trying to tell me that the Arab in the name of Islam is the biggest colonizer of all? Is that what? I don't know. I need a second reference. Hit the number 1 button. Let's see if this one works.
Truly great opportunity for the slave traders lies in the pilgrimage to Mecca. Mecca is the heart of Islam, and Islam is the 3rd religion in the world.
It looked like, to me, the Arab conquered almost half of Africa. It looked like they colonized almost half of Africa. I'm sorry, am I making a mistake here? Because that's what the map looked like. I guess we need to let this for over a millennium. That's 1,000 years. Then I think it's 1,600. I'm just asking questions. I'm asking questions. I don't know these things, I've always been told not to ask questions when it comes to Islam. It's the sacred religion of God or something. And so we can't, I'm just asking questions because, see, I'm not coming at it from a religious standpoint. I'm coming at it from the position of a black man in America. And we got all these people in Palestine asking black Americans to come over there and support them. You want us to lend our moral authority to you. And I'm like, hold on a minute, who are you? You're Muslim? You're Islam? But hold on a minute. You all conquered half of Africa and you had a slave trade going on for damn near 1,600 years and you want me to what? You don't even like black people like that? You treat your own people in your own, whether we're talking about Palestine or Lebanon or Saudi Arabia or Iraq, Iran, well, not Iraq, but the Arab country, you treat them like substandard citizens, and now you telling me your religion tells you it's perfectly acceptable to enslave us, and you want me as a foundational black American, most educated, wealthiest group of black people on the planet, the gatekeepers, if you will, to come support you in your hour of need after 1,600 years of prejudice, racism, and conquest in the name of your God? Is that what you asking? I'm just asking. I need clarification. Okay, because now since you asked me for help, I want to know who am I helping? Okay, somebody tell me who am I helping?
But even here in the holy city, some of the most notorious slave merchants operate. Not far from the loftiest symbols of a great religion, there is a street.
Did he say slave merchants operate? So they had slaves? This is like 1940. They had slaves then?
Called the
Y'all still had black slaves back then?
Slave market. For many of them, it is nothing.
Hold on a minute. Those are black people. Why do black people all? Help me understand. I guess because, I'm thinking maybe these people have a misinterpretation of their religion. I'm saying. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, and somebody said you're too smart to take these videos at face value. Oh, I haven't. I've been working on this for about 2 or 3 years now. I haven't taken it. I can't wait. Just hang out. Let's get through the video presentation. I want you to make sure you stay, and I'm going to give you a full dose. I'm going to give you a full dose. Did you know when they were stealing black people from West Africa by the hundreds, they didn't pack enough food? Because what they would do is they would feed the people who died their flesh to the other slaves. Did you know that, Mr. You too smart to take these videos at face value? Do your research. I've done my research, and it's horrific. Did you know that the Sahara Desert is filled with bones of Africans who were marched for thousands of miles? Did you know that? I'm too smart to take videos at face value. Oh, I haven't. I've done very deep. They were marched to the slave markets in Zanzibar. And there are people who visited and said, oh my God, we thought these were white rocks. These are white bones of Africans. Don't you ever come on my broadcast and tell me what I should do or shouldn't do. Los Nupis, whatever your name is. Let's get back to the broadcast. Praise Moses. Hallelujah. But now you know why I remain a Southern Baptist. Hallelujah.
More than a tragic journey on the road to slavery. An open market in human beings. 3 men and 3 women are on sale. All Africans.
All Africans. This is 1954 in Saudi Arabia. This is 1954 in Saudi Arabia. This ain't 1880. It's 1954. They were still selling black people in Saudi Arabia. Don't y'all like going over there? What's the name of that place, y'all? Dubai. Go on, take your black behind over there. Go ahead. Some of them people that's over there, their fathers were slaves. Might still be. I just want you to understand. Oh, I'm sorry. Does this say 1954 or 1964? Yes, Lord. Yeah. Yeah, y'all come on up in here if you want to play. You gonna have a rude awakening today. Hit the #1 button. Let's keep listening.
To this day, are enslaving black people in Africa.
To this day. Somebody typed, to this day.
It was Muslims are the reason why we blacks are here in America today. Not because of what Christians, white people did to us.
Weren't those slave traders white men from Europe?
No, they were Muslims.
Arab slave
blacks
traders.
And Muslims. The slave trade was going on long before white people, Christians or Jews even showed up. In fact, from 700 AD, from what I can research, go Google stuff up. 18 million blacks were taken out of Africa into the eastern parts of Arabia and the east and so forth and so on. 18 million, whereas the whites and Christians bought about 13 million from the black and Muslim slave traders in the continent, the West African slave trade. But you never hear about that.
You never hear, because we're POCs. Right, because you're getting that liberal education, right, and then they count on the fact that you will not crack a book open after you get that bachelor's degree in socioeconomics, right? And let me say this again. Shout out to Kunta Kintekazu. Let me remind you that you should never, ever, ever let your religion, whatever it may be, get in the way of your blackness. Remember. Wherever you go, you still black. Wherever you go, the rest of the world perceives you as a black person. Now, we have some internal issues going on because people have not been wanting to be brotherly and sisterly with us, and they got a lot to say, but at the end of the day, you don't let somebody else's religion dictate to you how you should perceive facts and truth when it's coming to you. Now, there's people who's going to be offended. Oh, that's not what the Quran said. Well, all these other people are saying is what it says. These are the facts right here. You want me not to believe what I see with my own eyes and what I research? Is that what you're telling me? Huh? Because you so caught up in not offending your belief system? Grow up is what I'm trying to tell you. Grow up. Have some backbone. Isn't that what your God teaches you? See the truth? Have some backbone. Stop being a coward. Stop being scared. Yes. Clearly, these Arab folk don't think that you are, don't think you're equal to them, even if you worship the same God. And they use that as a reason to say, well, yeah, we can use these people for slavery because, you know, they're black. And hell, any reason is good enough. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out there, you are not in any position to tell me as a black American man when and when I don't see racism. Straight up. Now let's keep going. Hit the number 1 button.
You never hear that part. All you hear is what white Christians and Jews did. The fault of white Christians and Jews.
Christians and Muslims both are guilty of slavery. No, we talk about Muslims today. We know about Christians. Los Nupes. Okay, we know about, don't run from it now. Okay, no, we're not talking about, this is like when we used to have those conversations about black men and black women, and then we'll be talking about what the sisters need to do, and then black women say, what you black men do? No, we're not talking about them today. Today is not their day. Today, we're not talking about Christians. Today, we are talking about Islam, and we're talking about racism embedded in that Arab culture. That's what we're talking about right now. And you got your black behind over there sitting next to them people, and they think you ain't nothing better than a goat herder's, a damn goat. That's what they think you are. And now you feel bad. You feel bad because you know they call you an Abib. You know that. You know goddamn well. And it's about self-respect. And so now I'm gonna have to ask you, do you respect yourself? And I'm not gonna ask it. I'm gonna just let you keep looking at these.
Is that they disobeyed the Torah, and for the love of money to make profit, they abandoned what they had forsaken in Europe and took on the curse of Africa by buying slaves. But they did not capture it. In fact, Henry Louis Gates has a new book. And apparently he is saying, something I've been saying, that over 90% of the slave trade in West Africa was black people and Muslims, not white people, only 10%. And so you don't hear that kind of talk. But it's gonna have to come out now with all this media information sharing. Everybody now can look in everybody's backyard. We can no longer hide the fact that Muslims are the primary reason why West Africans are in the United States.
Wow, never heard that. Never heard that. So you're saying the systematic race or the systematic system of racism / slavery that they imposed from the Arab world is the reason that black people are over here now. Are you saying that they set up the system and the white folk just showed up with their boat and picked them up and brought them here? The store was already made. That's what you're telling me. And half of you black folks, because you love one religion more than you other, and you've demonized one religion over another so long, you associate the white man, the white devil. That white devil is at fault. Come to find out it's that black Muslim that you're praying with, or that Arab Muslim that had a lot more to do. Is that what you're telling me? You too scary, you too much of a coward to go ahead and reassess. That's what you tell, because it interferes with your little belief system. The thing you've been believing your whole life. Somebody type people of color in the chat room. People of color, that's what you, it's your weak ass. Stop being a coward. Let's keep pushing.
Became slaves.
Became slaves.
Yeah, you can leave now. If you don't like it, leave. I don't care. I'm going to keep teaching this. This is these people talking. This is what we doing. We going to keep, come on, all these people of color, all the people of color are showing themselves now. If you can't put your own black family and body before your religion, then you are people of color. You should just go ahead and turn over your black card. You a POC. That's what you are. And you got a rude awakening. I'm just saying, you got a rude awakening. Go marry one of them Arab dudes' daughters. If you want to prove me wrong, go marry one of them Arab dudes' daughters. I want you to go do that. Go marry a little Arab dude's daughter, not one of the black ones. Go get you a white-looking Arab dude, like the one I had here earlier with the little band around his head. Go marry one of them and then prove I'm wrong.
And not in the United States, but in Mexico, Central America, South America, 94% of the slave trade that the Muslims sold went into Mexico, Central America, and South America. Only 6% of the Muslim slave trade came into North America, which then the white Christians and Jews fought each other over this issue and ended the African curse upon us black people. And we're free now. We were never free.
As a result of who?
Of white people.
Did he say white people? Hold on a minute. I missed something. Did you say white? Hold on a minute. You're not, how dare you Say white people were responsible for freeing us. You don't know what you're talking about. I know you don't say that white people are the whole reason that black people are poor and like fried chicken right now. It's white people's fault. That's what we've been told by the pro-blacks and the blackity blacks.
Fought each other over this issue and ended the African curse upon us black people. And we're free now. We were never free.
As a result of who?
Of white people. White Christians and Jews.
Where are these white people at?
The Civil War, the abolition movement, all of that America struggled with over the existence of slaves in this country. The United States did not start slavery. That's a misnomer.
Yeah.
The United States.
I don't believe that. We know America started slavery because this is where the devil lives. The devil lives right here. He's got a house over in goddamn Des Moines, Iowa. He got a crib down in Miami, and a penthouse in Hollywood. We know this is absolutely wrong, sir. I disagree with you. America started slavery, and the devil lives here, sir. That's what we've been taught in our history classes.
Heard the slavery from the British in 1776. The British did not start it. They bought it from Africa. The Muslims.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe you, sir. Matter of fact, you know who I'm gonna call. I know who's gonna set the record straight. Come on in here and set the record straight, man.
1908 is when America outlawed the international slave trade.
America did what? Doc, somebody type Dr. Umar in the chat room.
1808 is when America outlawed the international slave trade. They did not outlaw slavery.
Right,
they just outlawed the importation of Africans. So from 1804 until 1865, how did they get more slaves in America if you couldn't ship them in?
Yeah. So we still heavy in the slave business. We just breeding, we keeping it internal. We're not importing any of these new Africans. We outlawed importation of slavery. I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. But I need to answer that other question that the dude said that it was the Muslims that started the whole slave trade in the first place, man. I need you to clarify that. And then he said, the brother said that the white man stopped slavery. Okay, it's how you gonna stop slavery, you in America, and the slavery's going on in Africa? How you gonna stop slavery, you in America? You don't even know what you're talking about, old man from the other video with your gray hair on your beard. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. Go ahead and finish, Dr. Umar. That's right. Let's get back to calling this white man the devil. Let's get back.
They moved to a domestic slave trade, which means what? It means that they had to birth and create their own domestic slave system. And this is where you get the
somebody type oppression in the chat room. Oppression.
Breeding farms. This is where you get the breeding farms where they would get a dozen black women, one black man, and his job was to keep those black women impregnated.
He knocked up, even if he had to do it himself. White master went out there to the slave quarters and pushed out a whole bunch of little biracial and triracial babies, put them up for sale. Oppression. Somebody type oppression in the chat room, man. Oppression.
Constantly. They were called the bitches, and he was called the buck. And unfortunately, we still refer to each other in those same pejorative terms. We call our women bitches, and we call the men bucks.
Yeah, or the white man fault. We be calling our women bees and calling each other bucks. I don't call no dudes no bucks, but whatever. I'm with him. Oppression. Somebody type oppression in the chat room.
N-word. We use the same terminology on each other that they use on us.
Yeah. Now, somebody say that's a bad source because y'all don't want to believe black people. That's right. Well, you know what? Shut up, Faquan. I bet it's a white man out here to say the same thing. Let's bring the white man, because I know most of y'all don't want to hear nothing the black man got to say, so we're going to let the white man set the record straight. Set it straight, white man. Tell us the truth.
Argue without knowing the facts.
Constantine, the Western world's actually not that great because the reason being is, what about slavery?
The reason there is no slavery in the world today, I mean, there's a lot of slavery in the world today, but in the parts of the world where there's no slavery, is because the British Empire ended it. That's why there is no slavery. Look, the fact that you are uneducated about history doesn't mean it's funny. So let me educate you now. I know that the woke narrative is there was no slavery, and then the British or the Americans came along and they started slavery. Slaves were the first good that were ever traded between human beings. Ever. Native Americans had slaves, Ottomans had slaves, African had slaves, everybody had slaves. The reason there is no slavery in the West is the British Empire ended it. Not only that, the British Empire then spent a tremendous amount of blood and treasure to force the Middle Eastern slave traders, with the trans-Saharan slave trade being much worse, and we spent a tremendous amount of blood and treasure to stop it.
Oh my God. The white man? So you telling me it was the white man that had to stop the Arab man? Oh my goodness. From the shores of Tripoli. Where's the Marine Corps at? Shout out to all the people in, I am flabbergasted. I don't know what to say. I mean, gosh, I mean, yeah. Black people, I know we're not there yet, okay? And I kind of told you earlier in the broadcast that, you know, we might have to send the whites an apology note. I'm not saying that yet. I'm not going to go there yet, okay? You know, we'll pray to Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and see where it goes from there. But let's move forward, okay? Are you guys still with me? Are we still here today with me? Are y'all ready to run away yet? Somebody type oppression in the chat room, okay? Because we are still oppressed. It's the white man's fault. I don't care how many times I tell you these facts. It's still the white man's fault. The man just sat up there and told you that the white man in America ended the transatlantic slave trade in 1808. And the white man, the white devil empire of England, stopped the blacks and the Arabs from the slave trade at the same time. Damn. Damn, damn, damn. So we'll keep reading and see if we can still make this the white man's fault some kind of way, because apparently, you know, we're going to have to reassess. I mean, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, but like I said, we may have to send the whites an apology note. But let's move forward, okay? And remember, what we've learned so far is that Arabs are racist, that they practice a certain level of social classism, that they are the original colonizers, and they colonized most of North Africa and a whole bunch of what we call the Near East, okay? I'm just pointing that out, but you know, I want to talk about land, history, and truth. I want to talk about Africa. This land, people argue over it sits in Africa. It always has. You know, many Europeans label this region the Middle East, but it looks like Africa to me, okay? North Africa, Libya, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, the land people call Israel, Palestine, all that sits on African soil. It's just kind of like a little walk away. All right, but bottom line is black people living in that land for thousands of years. And these facts hold strong. Black families here, long before modern borders existed, they lived there. Long before modern states formed, people moved freely across the land. The border once sat closer to Al Arish in Egypt. Okay? That's what I need you to understand. That was all black people. And then what happened? What happened is you had an Arab invasion in the name of God or Allah or whatever, okay? And many people lack the knowledge about this history. Black people lived on those lands for thousands of years. It was all black, okay? And this history appears in records and oral stories, family lines, scholarships. Scholars know it, elders know it, people from the region know it. Tribes like the Bani Hilal appear in history. Regional stories connected. You see, they have many Bedouin groups today. They can trace their roots back to the Arabian Gulf. Even they speak only openly about arriving later. Okay, that's what I'm trying to explain to y'all. Those people in North Africa right now, that's not where they're from. All right, and they understand this land held people before them. Other tribes across the region show African roots when you look closely, skin tone, features, culture, family lines, all point back to Africa. You understand what I'm saying? So here's the thing, when someone asks who lived on this land originally, the answer is black people lived there. Long before the modern borders. That's what I'm trying to explain to y'all. Now, the thing is, history leads us to the next question people keep asking. Where did all this anti-Blackness come from in this Arab world? Where did the Muslim slave trade come from? And see, the thing is, they grew through systems of power, money, and religion working together. Just like Europe used Christianity to excuse slavery and control and get control of us, right? Parts of the Muslim world use religion to justify that same behavior. They use racism, fused with slavery to justify the fact that they didn't want to do their own work. They wanted to rob and pillage and steal and take, and they did it in the name of God. They use religion as a shield. People use it to bless the conquest, slavery, and hierarchy. Over time, those justifications turn to culture, and that shaped how black people get viewed and treated. And this pattern repeats across history. Different religions and same result. Power finds a way to excuse itself, and black bodies pay the price. Now, I want to talk to you all about the Arab conquest. I want to talk to you about a word called caliphate. Okay, I want to talk about colonization that took place long before the Europeans expanded across the world. Europeans were sitting up in their little houses, and little huts cold, and the Arabs that took over everything. See, when people talk about colonizers, they point straight to Europe, don't they? They talk about Britain and France and Spain and Portugal. And that story matters because it isn't the whole story. Long before European whites and their empires spread across Africa and Asia and America, the Arab empires expanded through war, conquest, and religion. You know them Arabs that y'all like so much on the corner store? Between the 7th and the 9th centuries, starting around the year 632 after the death of Muhammad, peace be unto him, the Arab armies moved out of the Arabian Peninsula under what is called the Rashidun Caliphate, and then the Umayyad Caliphate, and later the Abbasid Caliphate, and they conquered massive land areas. Egypt fell. You remember when we had all them black people in Egypt? Why you think they don't look black anymore? Huh? You go down to Nubia, they look black as hell. But up there in Egypt, they're not. Well, it fell around 640. North Africa followed soon after. By the 700s, Arab forces, they rolled across Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco. They pushed into the Iberian Peninsula at 711. You ever heard of the Moors? Huh? Most of them were Arabs. They had some black Moors, you know, they little black helpers. They ruled parts of Spain for centuries, and this expansion happened fast. In less than 200 years, Arab rulers controlled land stretching from the Middle East all the way across North Africa into Europe. And that kind of growth only happens through force. Talking about we don't require people to, we don't impose our religion on. Okay. Anyway, armies marched, cities fell, local cultures got pushed aside, languages changed, religions changed. People who resisted faced violence, heavy taxes, and death. Death, we don't need to tell you to do it, but if you want death and heavy taxes, keep doing what you're doing. Otherwise, you'll come on over here to our religion. Nevertheless, this is black people they're doing it to. I want you to understand, black Americans, these same people want you to go bust a tear out for Gaza and the Palestinians and the Muslim people over there. And this is what they did, Abi. They know their history. They know. That woman who took those black Americans to Gaza thought she was gonna go over there and say, yeah, look at us, we're gonna pimp you black folks out again. We're gonna do the same thing the Mexicans do, the white folks and the liberals do. We're gonna use these foundational black Americans for their moral authority, and we're gonna put them and have them supporting our cause. That's what they had you do. Because you ain't nothing but a Habib to them. Whether you picking cotton, slashing sugar cane, you're still a Habib, a slave. And if they can use you for your moral authority, they will. Stop letting people use you. Now, North Africa already had people in it. The Berbers lived there. Black Africans lived there. Ancient cultures existed long before the Arabs showed up. Conquest brought Arab identity, Arab language. Islam was a tool of control. And the conversion often came through pressure, power, and survival. People learned that life became easy if they just accepted the new ruler's way of life and religion. And then slavery also formed part of that system. Arab empires ran slave trades for centuries, man, way before the white man even showed up. And many of these enslaved Africans got taken north and east. Some worked in homes, some worked in armies, some worked until they died. And this system lasted for hundreds of years and shaped how black people got viewed all across the region and all across the world. And that the heart of this expansion centered on that particular caliphate. And the caliph ruled as both political leader and religious authority. Conquest carried religious approval, period. If you won, oh well, that means God wanted us to do it. You understand? War became sacred. Power gained more cover. And that structure looks familiar because Europe later used that same thing and said, we could do that with Christianity. Oh my God. You know white folk don't come up with original ideas. They got it from the Muslims, damn it. Let's just keep it 100 with each other. We ain't got to lie. We ain't got to lie, Craig. Nevertheless, when people talk about colonization, remember Arab empires colonized the whole north of Africa. And when we say North Africa, I'm really talking about the top 1/3 of the damn near half of the continent. All the parts that's relevant to foundational black Americans. And this is long before European ships crossed the Atlantic. And they left deep scars. And it was shaped in racism and power. Now, I want to address something people hear all the time. The Muslims say, we don't force Islam on anyone. People repeat that line like it ends the discussion. It doesn't even, if someone accepts the claim on the surface, the full history tells a different story. Here's the issue. People who refuse to convert to Islam face worse treatment than people who converted. They paid higher taxes. They faced job limits. There was no DEI for you. Okay? You had limited land rights. So you lived under constant pressure. Yeah, you could be you can be what they call it, haram. You can be haram if you want to. You can be a non-believer if you want to. So conversion offered relief and safety and better status. And that kind of system pushes people towards one choice. When power rewards one path and punishes the other, free choice disappears. What you gonna do? You can't feed your family. All I gotta do is go over here and say this thing and I can eat some food. Yeah, let me go and say the thing. You understand? But here's the cold part about it. Even the people who actually converted carry the mark. You still suspicious. Somebody type suspicious and he's a convert. Somebody type suspicious in the chat room. It's like you get somebody to come in your church talking about, yeah, I used to worship Satan, but now I've converted to Jesus. You're suspicious. Remember that dude who came out that I'm freed? I like women now. Remember that guy that came out? Y'all still looking at him suspicious, right? Because everybody knew who converted and who descended from converts. So social status followed those lines for generations. And so the idea of open choice falls apart once people look closely at how life worked under conquest. And see, there's another part people avoid. Most communities across North Africa and Middle East and beyond never invited invasion. They didn't ask for them Arabs to come over there. Nobody asked for them. But the armies came anyway. Lands got took, governments fell, rulers took control, religions traveled with soldiers and taxes and swords. And even if someone claims forced conversion never happened, forced conquest happened first. And that matters. People didn't wake up asking for a new ruler to come in. And the logic breaks down saying we don't force Islam. It ignores the force used to take the land, the resources, the power, the women, and the people as slaves. Faith arrived after the invasion. People adopted that to survive. And history also shows how slavery fit into the system. The Arabic word abib means servant or slave. And over time, many Arabs just use the word to refer to that's synonymous with black people. You see them Arabs up at the corner store? They call them your butt abib. And that's synonymous with slave. Now, I'm not talking about religion. I have not cited one verse at all. I'm talking to you about historical facts. Across the Sahara, the Red Sea, the Indian Ocean, Arab slave trades lasted for 14 centuries and is still kicking. And that timeline stretches far longer than the Atlantic slave trade. You know, the white man, the white devil that Malcolm talked about, right? Well, if the white man is the devil for 250 years of slavery, what does that make this Arab for 1,400 years? You tell me. I'm going to let y'all add that up, and you tell me. He is Thanos level type devilry. You understand me? I mean, I'm just saying. They had them work. They had Africans working in homes, farms, mines. They were in the armies. Most of them died under brutal conditions, and the system carried religious approval through law and custom. And so the rise of Islam and the early caliphates created organized, large-scale slavery tied to conquest. At the end of the day, this is about conquest. It's not about a religion. It's about conquest. It's about power. It's about resources. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody said you sold your own people. Look at history. Do you not know who you talking about? See, this is why I don't like people that just showed up. You just showed up. You don't even know me, do you? I know that, but two things can be true at the same time, sir. You sold your own people. No, according to the Africans, we're not the same people. We'll leave it at that today. But let's get back to these Muslims. See, we're not talking about that today. See how uncomfortable this conversation makes people? Somebody type POC. We got another POC in the chat room. We got another POC. You want to dip and dodge? And no, we talking about Muslims. We talking about specifically, we talking about Arabs, Muslims, and their racism today. That's what we talking about today. We talking about Arab racism today. That's what is on the menu today. If you want to talk about something else, another day, that'll be another day. Today, we're going to focus on Arab racist Muslims because they expect you folk to be sad for these Arab Muslims in Palestine who are getting rolled up by these Jewish people, but these Palestinian Arabs are still racist towards the Palestinian black people that are over there. So let's stay focused. You understand? Don't run away. Don't you run away. But again, the whole point of that is slavery in Islam, it had a hierarchy, it followed a skin color, and it had an origin. So when people repeat the claim that Islam never forced belief, okay, the deeper truth remains people faced invasion, people faced unequal treatment, and people faced systems designed to push them towards compliance. And that reality deserves discussion without fear of excuses. Now, I want to talk to you all about racism inside the Muslim communities. I want to talk to you about dating and marriage and how black men get treated. I've heard these conversations many a times. I'm a grown man. A black man asks a Muslim woman if she dates black men. You saw the video. She says her religion forbids it. And that answer raises serious questions. I don't know if the religion does or not. I ain't read your book all the way through like that. I've tried to go through it, but the minute I found out they believed in Jesus, I'm like, well, what's the big difference? You know, whatever. But here's the thing. At what point did Islam ban relationships with black men? Where does that rule appear? It doesn't come from scripture, does it? It comes from culture. It comes from that racist Arab culture that says we just gonna erase all these black people inside these pyramids and just pretend like they look like us. Racism, shout out to Caliplant. We just gonna pretend like, nah, it couldn't have been black people because they're our slaves, those are Beebs, and we let the word out that these are Beebs, built all these sphinxes and pyramids and temples. Then how can we say that they're less than us? That doesn't fit. That's what happened, you see? So it comes from their culture. It's a necessity of a culture that requires these people to be able to push their people and their children and their progeny into the future. And by uplifting these black people, by telling them that they're actually the inventors of science and mathematics and farming and all that other stuff, oh, hell no, we can't do that. Comes from the pressure. Shout out to Alabama Clay Child. It also comes from family pressure. We don't want no darks in here, okay? It comes from racism passed down through generations. I'm taught 1,600 generations of racism. Okay, 1,600 years, they've been racist a long time. All right, and when someone says my family would neither allow that, the real truth is religion becomes the cover. Family bias becomes the rule. People hide behind faith to excuse prejudice. And that pattern shows up again and again. Parents push daughters from black men, families warn them, communities shame them. The message stays clear. Black men sit in the bottom. The black women, I think it's a little different. They'll take you. I don't know if they'll make you a full-fledged wife. You be like wife 5 or something like that. They definitely take a lot of black women in concubines. We're going to talk about that a little later too. But this attitude carries deep roots. The Arab societies built color hierarchies over centuries. Lighter skin brought status, darker skin brought stigma. Slave history reinforced those ideas. Even after conversion, black people stayed marked. And that legacy still shapes marriage choices today. So when someone says it's my religion, the truth sounds different. The belief comes from racism dressed up in religious language. We've seen that before. We got white Christian nationals right here. We got the damn Nazis were goddamn Christians. But they don't like your black behind. Faith gets used as protection for bias. Shout out to Faye Kwan. Families teach it. Communities repeat it. Young people absorb it. Calling this out matters. People can respect religion and still challenge racism. People can value faith and still reject prejudice. And when families block black men or whoever from relate based on skin color, the issue becomes clear. It's racism. And even if you do that, I'm cool with it. But don't come asking me to come support you in your group and y'all racist as hell. You understand what I'm saying? You see where I'm coming? You want me to lend my support to you and you racist. Now again, you heard some of these people talk about Quran. The Quran left slavery open on purpose. And the classical Islamic law, according to these people, allowed people to own slaves. And that permission came straight from their religious texts. Okay? And when people ask why Islam never ended slavery, the answer sounds the same every time. They say God allowed it, so humans had no authority to remove it. And they say ending slavery too fast would have caused chaos and damaged society. In other words, we don't want to actually go out there and do the work on our own. So if God said, well, we can bring these darks from Africa and have them do the work, well, let's just go ahead and do that. Because we don't want to get out here and milk these camels on our own. We damn sure don't want to do that. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Now, I want you to think about the logic. Slavery stayed in place because the leaders believed society needed it. Okay? Order mattered more than freedom and human dignity. Stability mattered more than human suffering. And that argument sounds familiar because the other empires used it too. Europe used Christianity the same way. Different scripture, same excuse. When religion allows ownership of human beings, the system shapes culture for centuries. And slavery turns into hierarchy, and hierarchy turns into racism. And people learn who belongs on top and who belongs at the bottom. And that lesson passes from generation to generation. This history matters because it explains the present behavior, and it explains why black people across the Arab world still face this lower status. It explains color bias. It explains family rules around marriage. It explains why people speak about equality while living inside systems built for inequality. How you gonna ask me to help you get equality and you being biased and racist towards people that look like me? You can argue your faith all day. You can have your religion. You can do whatever you want to do with it. But see, the historical record is clear. Slavery lasted for centuries under Islamic rule. Religious permission protected it, and social order demanded it, and black bodies carried the cost. And understanding this history helps explain today's conversation. It explains why many black people listen carefully when others talk about justice. That's why when those black people went over there to Palestine with this young lady in the video, they say, oh, hell no. Now, let's go ahead and hit you in the mouth. Everybody come in close. All you brothers, oh, my Muslim brother, come on in. All you black people, all you black Muslims, come on, ease on up in there. I ain't gonna talk about your religion. You can have your religion. But what I'm gonna tell you is your Arab Muslim brother is the real colonizer. They colonized massive parts of Africa. Long before Europe even showed up in their ships, they were still fighting each other. Human traffic turned into one of the most profitable businesses in the Arab world. And the Arab Muslim empires participated in it for over a millennia. That's 1,000 years. Arab traders operated slave routes across the Sahara, the Red Sea, the Indian Ocean. Before the Atlantic slave trade even peaked, North Africa once held hundreds of thousands of black African people. And over time, conquest and slavery just forced the movement, pushed them out. Arab rule reshaped the region through violence. They didn't come in there with the Quran in one hand and peace in the other. They came in with the sword in the name of their religion. And people love to compare slavery in America to everything else. But none of y'all want to talk about the Arab slave trade. I ain't heard, none of y'all want to talk about that because you're POCs. Somebody type people of color. All you people of color out there. That's why I can't stand you pro-blacks, because you're punks, you're weak. You won't speak the truth because you don't want to offend your people of color clique. Did you know African men were castrated? Let me explain something. Castration was part of that slave system. 80 to 90% of the African men and boys were castrated. Many of them died from it. We talking 18 million people, 18 million. And of course, as you can imagine, anybody who survived, you lost the ability to produce. And that fact alone explains why large black populations disappeared from many of the regions under Arab rule. African women, black women, they face rape and forced pregnancy and lifelong bondage. Some of them rather have death compared to the suffering that they had to endure. And let me tell y'all something, and I said this, and I want you to listen to me, all you POC lovers. The Arab traders calculated loss like business. Mind you, these wasn't ships they were putting them on. They would literally capture them on the west coast of Africa and walk them across the North African Sahara Desert. They expected 3 out of 4 black African slaves to die in the desert. They either left the bodies behind or they fed them to the living people who survived. You hear me? They didn't pack any food. These were raiders. They rounded them up and started walking. These were raiders. At least these white folk had the nerve to put a ship in some damn provisions, and they walked them across the desert. They didn't bury anybody. You drop. And the bodies were used to feed the survivors. You hear me? This is what the Arabs, this is what your POCs did for you. This is their history. Don't you ever align yourself with a melanated, don't you ever call yourself melanated again. Or POC, you black. You are a foundational black American. You are black. And you ain't every kind of black either. They brought a little dried fruit and a little meat. You 3 months out there in the desert. What do you think they ate? They don't think of you more than savages and animals anyway. What do you think fed them on that trip over? They took care of the camels. The camels needed the water. This lasted 1,400 years. This lasted 1,400 years. It's still going on right now. What I'm trying to tell you, it started in 600 AD. What's 1,400 plus 600? How long is that? Huh? The Atlantic slave trade lasted 300 years. The white boys had it for 300 years. These Arabs had it for 1,400. What does that tell you? And I'm not saying both systems were horrible. But one of them get discussed endlessly and the other stays bare. Y'all don't talk about it because you're loyal to the POC. The POC posse. Can't talk about what other brown people did to you. You definitely can't talk about the Africans who sold your black behind into slavery in the name of I'm a Muslim. Because see, that's another whole concept we're not even talking about. The same black Muslims that sold your black behind into slavery said, well, these other blacks aren't quite Muslim enough, so I'm gonna help these Arab Muslims, my Arab brothers, my POC pals, grab these other black folk and sell them into slavery because, you know, they got these weird African spiritual beliefs and that is haram or whatever they call it. You understand what I'm saying? That's why you don't ever put some religion or belief system ahead of your own blackness. That in itself is blasphemy. You keep that in mind. All you black Muslims, this is my brother, he's like, they don't like your black behind. Their central worship of Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him. I believe in that text, he owned slaves. Okay, it's my understanding he gave those slaves away at the time of his passing. I'm not sure. But if your central focus of worship sanctioned slavery and it's not outlawed in your book, what does that say? What does that say? If your central religious focus, or the person who is central to your focus of worship, and in the case of Islam, it's the honorable prophet, the great prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him. If he had slaves, I get it. He gave his slaves the way, gave them freedom, but he still had slaves, and the Quran doesn't outlaw it. What does that say? Now I get it. Slaves were everywhere. You know, that was the old time. Slaves was part of the, you know, culture everywhere. Everybody had slaves. I get it. But you know who didn't have slaves? Jesus. Jesus didn't have slaves, did he? Bible talks about slaves, but Jesus didn't have slaves. He was a carpenter. Nevertheless, again, Christians use the same sort of religious dogma to justify slavery too. So I've seen this logic before. I've seen it before. Even beyond Africa, Arab Muslim slave traders targeted others. They enslaved the Persians. You know where Iran is? Persia. Hell, they even enslaved Europeans. Did you know that? Did you know that these Arabs enslaved Europeans? They call it the Barbary slave trade. Yes. Young white girls from Greece and all these other places, these coastal villages, they kidnapped them and sold the Hindu women. They got captured too. The men got unalived, the women and the children got taken. That's what the stories like 1001 Nights from the world. Shahrazad, a Persian woman, she appears inside a system shaped by slavery and power. These stories didn't come from fantasy. This is what was going on back then. And see, people rarely demand accountability for this history. Arab Muslims' empires escape scrutiny because people label them people of color or non-Western. See, remember, the white man is the worst, right? Of course, we can't let this white man off the hook, right? I get it. We can't see what the devil is doing because we got this demon over here. But hell, the devil come from the devil is over there, but we gonna look at this little demon over here. Like, see what you're doing, white man. You're wrong. We got this white man paying. We got him paying. But these still doing the same stuff they've been doing. People of color, non-Western. When we talk about the Western world and all you black people in this broadcast, listen to me in English. You are in the Western world. You are a Westerner. Colonization doesn't change meaning based on skin tone and religion. A colonizer is a colonizer is a colonizer. Conquest stays conquest. Slavery stays slavery. Shout out to R.U.N. Rain. And see, this history explains modern racism. Anti-black attitudes inside many Muslim societies didn't appear by accident. They grew from centuries of hierarchy, enslavement, and domination, calling black people abid, meaning slave. It reflects that legacy. And conversion never erased it. Status follows skin color, and that's why I stay cautious. The only Muslims I deal with come from the Nation of Islam. Elijah Muhammad understood history. Malcolm X understood power before he left the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Let me get down, because I know, no, you're not going to talk about Brother Malcolm. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I know we love Malcolm X. Somebody type X in the chat. We love Brother Malcolm, don't we? I know, because remember the other day we talked, and y'all told me, remember I was like, I had my Saturday night fight, and I said, don't y'all think I'm going too far? I mean, y'all want me to stop? I can pull back a little bit. Remember y'all told me, remember I asked y'all this question? Remember that? I asked y'all this question, and y'all said, no, go ahead, Dennis, go on. Let's see what you're going to do. Yes. 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 I'm about to go there. Malcolm X understood power before he left. See, those Eastern old world Muslim societies never accepted that independence. That's why they pushed back so hard against black Muslims who refused to be subservient. Malcolm X left the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He went to Mecca as one of the most famous black men in the world. And he received special treatment. Didn't y'all hear the conversation I had earlier? Ain't y'all figured it out yet? I always lay down where the cows can eat it. You go over there, you're the most special black man in the world from America, Malcolm X. Of course they're going to treat you well, Brother Malcolm. Of course they're going to treat you well, Brother Malcolm. Did you not hear this little white Muslim woman in Gaza say, oh yeah, we non-Palestinian black people get treated terrific when they come over here? Well, what about we in Palestine? How did the black people in Palestine, how did the black people from Gaza get treated? Well, the non-blacks get treated, the blacks that are not from here get treated well. No, what about the blacks that are from here? See, if you Malcolm X and you go from the United States and everybody knows who you are and you friends with Muhammad Ali and, you know, they've been seeing you on TV and whatnot, of course they're going to treat you well. And even Brother Malcolm realized that his experience didn't reflect the reality of everyday black people over there. And Malcolm, people love the Malcolm that we love. You understand me? The Malcolm that we love. The one that gave us the bullet or the ballot and the bullet. Or the bullet and the ballot. That latest version softened truths that still needed that sharp edge. That was the Brother Malcolm who was under the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You understand me? You see the difference? And he did not have the wisdom at that time to realize that. Slavery, kidnapping, religious violence continue across Africa right now. The same pattern repeats. Power hides behind belief. Violence gets justified. Black suffering gets ignored. Arab Muslim empires played a central role in conquest and slavery and racial hierarchy across Africa and beyond. Are y'all mad yet? I hope y'all good and mad. I hope you so mad you pick up a book and read it. I hope you look at a documentary. It's right there. The Arab slave trade began when Arab armies invaded North Africa. That's when they started taking black bodies in the 7th century. That's 1,400 years ago. The first entry point was Egypt. In December 693, an Arab general named Amir ibn al-As invaded Egypt with about 4,000 men. And these soldiers came from the Arab tribes such as the Akka and Kaif, along with some recent converts who once served as Roman and Persian soldiers. the Muslim caliph, his boss, I guess, his general, whoever, he believed 4,000 men sounded too small to conquer Egypt. He wrote a letter to Amir saying, hey man, you gonna need some more people. And then he said, oh, no. God said we're going to be good. So he crossed into Egypt. And he was told, go ahead and continue the invasion. And you did that with 4 5. Let's see how far you can go. God is with us. And that victory opened the door for a larger Arab invasion straight across North Africa. So from Egypt, the Arab forces moved west and took control of areas once ruled by the Byzantine Empire, including Libya, Tunisia. These are all black places, man. These are all black people, man. Black people. Black as hell people. Black. Not light-skinned black. And the Arabs call that Afrikia. That's what they called it. And that marked the long-term rule. Early Arab leaders, they came, they placed demands on to conquer people. One of the rulers demanded 300 they required in his area under control. They had to give him a yearly allotment of 360 people, over 360 people. Can you imagine every year you got to give 360 of your people? 360 wives, you better give them too. And over time, the number grew. It went from hundreds to thousands. To supply enough slaves, Arab traders pushed deeper into Africa. They captured people from regions like Mali and Senegal and Chad and Nigeria. This is where our African ancestors are from. This is what I'm trying to help y'all understand. The slave trade was already set up before the white man even got there. White folk was they wasn't doing nothing in 600 AD. In the 12th century, this is 600 years later, a traveler named Benjamin of Tudela, he wrote that some traders laid out foods such as wheat, raisins, and figs near the villages in the Western Sudan. And when the people came closer to trade or ask questions, the traders just captured them and enslaved them. So they came and we just gonna come on here. We got some stuff for you. You guys, bring your wives and children. We got a little store we're opening up here. Come on, hang out with us. This is in the Sudan. Just sneaky and dirty. They're just lying. They were sent north to serve as household servants, soldiers, and concubines. That was the 10th and 19th century. They say about 6,000 to 7,000 enslaved people move north every year. And of course, the journey was deadly and many people died before reaching the markets. A British explorer, his name was Henry Hamilton Johnston. He wrote that some enslaved people reached water after long desert marches and they just collapsed. They died just before drinking. And death followed many along the route. And another major source of enslaved black people came from East Africa. Arab traders captured people along the coast from the interior. They enslaved people were often called the Zanj, and they worked on farms and homes or as soldiers. Large numbers of East African men labored in plantations in Mesopotamia. The Indian Ocean slave trade reached far across the world. Arab traders sent enslaved Africans to places such as India, Indonesia, China. A Chinese text from the 7th century mentions African slaves presented as gifts to the emperor. Do you understand what they were taking us and shipping us off everywhere? I mean, they got records from the 8th and 9th century showing black people in China as slaves being shipped off. They had major markets in Zanzibar. You ever heard that? Zanzibar, these different places, Pemba. And at the height of the trade, between 15,000 and 20,000 black people, or not just black people, but enslaved people passed through these markets every year. In 1840, the Sultan of Oman moved his capital to Zanzibar because the slave trade brought so much wealth. This is big money. You understand what I'm saying? They sold them. They sold captives to Arab traders for often in exchange for guns. And some enslaved Africans stayed in East Africa to work on the plantations, including clove farms and I mean, they just taking black people, just taking them. This is what the Arabs did. And as you can imagine, it caused deep harm. You destroying families, you emptied villages, you spread fear across the continent. And the suffering matched the pain caused by the Atlantic slave trade. And I'm gonna say it redoubled it because it lasted 1,400 years. There was a doctor, his name was David Livingstone. He's a British doctor, a missionary. He traveled to East Africa. He wrote about seeing enslaved women stabbed and left to die. Men collapsing from hunger. These people had no respect for human autonomy. They just off you and go get somebody else. And what he wrote just shocked the world. About 80,000 Africans died every year before they even reached the slave market in Zanzibar. All the horrors people associated with the Atlantic slave trade redoubled at the Arab slave trade. And some historians estimate that 17 to 18 million were sent through the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea and the Sahara routes. Between 1500 and 1900 alone, about 5 million Africans were transported by Muslim slave traders. You understand me? And we don't talk about it, do we? Because that's y'all people of color, that's your POCs. But look here, we're about 2 hours in. I need y'all to make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Let me see what my subscriptions look like. We ain't taking a break. But you all need to go ahead and, are you learning something? If you hadn't learned anything, you just hard to teach. But if you learn something, I should earn something. But in the meantime, I need y'all to make sure. Apparently, YouTube took 20 of my subscribers away for whatever reasons. I need you all to make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel right now. Take the time to subscribe to the channel. I'm checking to see what my subscriptions look like right now. I need you all to take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel. You'll never get another person as bold as me. I need, I need approximately 18 people to subscribe to the channel so I can get to 92,600. I need 18 people to subscribe to the channel so I can get to 92,600. Okay, so take the time and hit your little button and subscribe to the channel right now. I know you hear me. I know you hear me. I know. I'm looking at you. You right there. You with your phone like this on the side of your face. I'm looking you in the pickup, you in the truck with your phone down there listening to me in your truck. You riding across the country. Yeah, you. I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. Don't play. All right? Go ahead. Go ahead. You sitting in there ignoring your girlfriend, listening to me, go ahead and do it. Go ahead. Everybody who have something else to do and you sat up here and decide to listen to me with your earphones on, subscribe to the channel right now. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Is he talking to me? I'm talking to you. You with the shirt on. I'm talking to you right now. And I'm talking to you too, lady. I'm talking to you with the bonnet on your head. All the women with bonnets on your head. Every woman with a bonnet on her head, I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. All right? Fellas. All the fellas with crusty feet, I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. I need my crusty feet crew. All the brothers that have not put lotion on their feet and they got ashy ankles, I need you to subscribe to the channel. All the white supremacists who are waiting around for me to get the black committee to issue an official apology. I need y'all to hit the subscribe button now. Go ahead and do it. All the angry Muslims, all the angry black Muslims, I need you to come in here. I need you to subscribe. You need to hear this. You need to come on up in and hear this. I need 6 more people to subscribe to the channel right now. All you angry, come on. Come on now. Don't run from it. Don't just be happy it's not your day. Just be happy it's not your day. I'll be on them. When people die, I give them their day. The Haitians, they caught hands last week. They caught hands last week. The poor Haitians, they were like, what are you doing to me? We are doing. Yeah, I caught hands. It's not your day today, baby. Subscribe to the channel today. Go ahead. We need 5 more people to subscribe to the channel, and I get back to work. I need 5 people. Out of 600-700 of y'all, I need 5 folk. You send this to a friend. Send this to your Muslim friend. He about to do his hadith. He over there, talking about don't eat pork, don't eat pork. Send him this. Next time you say, that's why I've been eating them pork rinds in front of you right now. I didn't know. Yeah. I need 5 people. All I need is 5 people to subscribe to the channel, and we will be at 92,000. Okay, I need 4 people. I need 4 people. Don't hate watch. You're not gonna sit up here and hate watch me. You're gonna subscribe to this channel. 3 people. I need 3 people to subscribe to the channel. I need 3 more people. Look where we at. I want y'all to see where we at. Okay? See that? See, you can't see. It's almost, I need 3 people to subscribe to the channel, and I get back to work. I got more to say. I'll talk to you. 2 people. I need 2 people. I got 92,598 people. Subscribe to the channel now. 1 person. I need 1 person to give me the 92,600. And I get back to work. I'm going to get back to work as soon as y'all give me my 92,600 people. There we go. Praise God. See, that wasn't so hard, was it? Now let's get back. Let's get back to where we at. I'd like to thank all the crusty feet people, all the ladies with bonnets on. Okay, I'd like to thank all the angry Muslims, all the white supremacists. Everybody's welcome here with Uncle D, baby. Everybody welcome to get this work. Uncle D is passing out the truth over here. I'm here to hurt your ears, make you feel bad. Yeah, next time they tell you don't eat that pork sandwich, brother. You know you worshiping the damn racist ass religion. You got that brother-in-law trying to, man, when you gonna come down to the mob? You know you're racist, man. But anyway, again, when people talk about slavery, the transatlantic slave trade usually comes to mind, and that history matters. But another brutal system exists at the same time for much longer. The Arab slave trade, it caused extreme suffering to black people, and it deserves equal, if not more, attention, because it's caused more harm. They died along the way in the Sahara Desert. And if they survive, they face cruel treatment once they arrive, from violent capture to forced labor, sexual abuse, castration. You understand? This has been going on since the 7th century. Did you know that Saudi Arabia just banned slavery in 1962? 1962. Huh? 1962. You understand me? They just did it. Think about that. And see, here's the thing. Arab, some people use it as a racial label, but it describes a culture. It's a language, not a race. And many Arab slave traders look similar to, they did the same thing. Now, what was life in slavery like over there in that Arab world? Africans suffered terrible conditions. They suffered terrible conditions. They forced them to march in the desert for long. Most of y'all can't walk from your car. You park your car on the beach. You imagine walking across that hot sand with no shoes on. Imagine, you know how hot your feet are walking across the sand from your car, after you hop out that car, don't mess around and take your shoes off because you don't want to get sand in your slippers. Now imagine walking not 50 feet to the ocean and you get to put your little ugly toes in the water. Imagine walking from West Africa to East Africa, across the desert. Imagine that, with no water, no food. You understand what I'm saying? You dealing with hunger, you dealing with thirst, you dealing with disease. And these people are not nice to you. They are violent. They're kicking people, they hitting people, they chopping people up. It was deadly crossing the Sahara Desert. They walked in neck and leg chains so they wouldn't run away, dealt with intense heat, and they just collapsed under exhaustion. They would unalive the ones who couldn't continue along the route. You understand what I'm saying? And so now now Zanzibar is known for the beaches and the tourism. This place was once the center of East African slave trade. Shout out to Marcus Ib6DV. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, look, if you learn something, I should earn something. You don't owe me a nothing. You don't owe me $1. Nobody owes me anything. But if you do learn something, I should earn something. Okay, that's my thing. But again, I'm not out here begging. I'm just giving you the information nobody else will. Nobody else is going to do this. It's too unpopular. We supposed to have black and brown unity, right? We supposed to be POC'd up. And I'm telling you, the POCs are doing your black butt dirty. But nevertheless, at this East African slave trade center, they sold ivory, they sold spices, they sold clothing, they sold people. People came from across the region and they bought black people. There was always buyers there. Again, I'm telling you about this British missionary, David Livingstone. He wrote this in 1870. This is after the Civil War had been fought in America. 50,000 enslaved people were sold in Zanzibar each year. 50,000. Shout out to hard-hitting history. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the Arab slave traders were slick because they avoided converting the enslaved Africans to Islam. And the choice protected the slave system. Under Islamic law, enslaving Muslims was forbidden. If Africans converted, then they gained rights, and that threatened slavery profits. And missionaries took a careful approach because mass conversion could weaken the trade. Now, what happened to the female slaves? Okay? Arab slave trade focused heavily on women and girls. Let me tell you what these freaks were doing. They focused heavy on women and girls. See, unlike the transatlantic slave trade, which really was about getting men to the New World to do the work, you understand what I'm saying? That's what, now if you start looking at the boats and you start looking at the numbers, the vast majority of the people brought to the United States were men. They didn't start bringing women over heavy until the last 20 years before slavery ended. And slavery ended, the transatlantic slave trade ended in 1808. So it was in 1788 that they started bringing a lot of black women to America because slavery was going to end. They gave them a 20-year time period. After that, you heard Dr. Umar Johnson. He said that they went from a transatlantic slave trade to an internal slave trade. That's when the breeding farms start. But as far as the sub-Saharan slave trade, they brought women because they were heavy into sex slavery and concubine. Who you think those harems were filled up with? Female slaves symbolized wealth and power. Harems. And slave owners held legal permission to have sexual relations with these enslaved women. They had huge harems filled with African women who bore children for their owners. And the children born from these unions gained free status under Islamic law because the father's religions mattered more than the mother's condition. Women who bore children often gained freedom at their owner's death. And this system damaged African populations. They literally erased blackness because they bred it out of them. If they survived the walk now. But the removal of women reduced birth rates, men left behind, they face pressure to reproduce, fewer women. Entire regions struggle. And so even as it is, Africa's population stood near 50 million in 1600, but by the 1800s, it had dropped sharply. And so by the 1900s, it fell even further. Slavery weakened farming, trade, community life. You want to know what happened to Africa? The people were stolen. How can you build up a continent if you got your people being stolen? They taken east, they taking them across the ocean. This is why Africa has failed. Now that you see all of a sudden, Nigeria's got all these people over there, that's why they're able to be productive. The more people you have, the more productivity you have. But here's the cold part about it. I want y'all to listen to this now. Despite millions of enslaved women taken to the Middle East and Asia, large African descendant communities barely exist. Why is that? Because number one, castration of African men prevented families from forming. Boys as young as 8 faced forced castration. Many of them bled to death. Others lived in shame and despair. And they paid high prices for these eunuchs. That's what they called them. And so it made the practice profitable. They would sell them. They didn't want them messing around with the women. Even in Europe and in the United States, I told you, in 1808, the transatlantic slave trade here, it ended. In Europe, the British put an end to it, and America said no more importation of slaves. The Arabs kept going. Even right now, many Africans that go to some of these Arab countries, they get trapped and they get forced to do labor and sexual exploitation right now. This is what's going on right now. Now, here's the thing, man. People rush to say American slave trade was worst form of slavery ever. And that story gets repeated again and again and again. But what people rarely face is the truth. The African slave trade into the Arab world was, it was far worse. And it caused even more damage. And that system lasted for 1,400 years. Millions of Africans traveled across the desert. They put us on ships and tied us down. They made these people walk 1,000 miles. Some of y'all don't even want to do y'all, 1,000 steps or 10,000 steps. They made them walk 1,000 miles to be slaves. But, we lost entire regions of people and lost hundreds of generations. You understand me? Even so, Islam and Arabs, they escape criticism. Why do y'all give these Arabs a pass? Because they're people of color. That's why. That's why, Dennis. We give them a people of color pass. They treated black life like it was disposable. Oh, we'll kill one, get another one. These people had massive deaths along the way. They planned for it. They were wasted on purpose. Reality is what it is. Imagine you're on your knees, you're in the sand, you got an iron collar on your neck. It's so tight you can't swallow. The chain got you connected to 11 other women. They're crying, they're praying in their language, stuff you don't recognize because you're from different tribes. They grabbing you by the jaw, they forcing your mouth open, they pressing their fingers against your teeth and gums and the back of your throat, you gag. He's trying to check you for disease. He's looking in your eyes, pulling your lips apart like a horse or a cow or a camel. A couple of weeks ago, you were a little girl in a village. Your daddy was the chief. You would call your mother's name, and she would come, or you would come to her, and now she's dead. And you watched your family get annihilated. And you had to keep going. You had to keep walking knowing that your mother was dead because you had a sword in your back. And the Arab slave trader, he doesn't know your name. He just called you Jarir. Jarir, you went from whatever your name was to slave girl. That's what that means. You know when those Somalis call us Jarir? That's what that means, slave. But again, that I'm gonna call it slave, but it's really far worse than that. It's a far more foul name. That's a clean version of it. What it really means is that your body is property. Your body is merchandise to be sold. That's what that means. For whoever wants to buy you, for whatever they want to do with you. Your past doesn't exist. Your history doesn't exist. Your roots don't exist. The men are stepping back. They're looking at you. They're nodding at each other. They're reaching into their leather pouches. They're passing out money and coins and whatnot. You've been sold. This is third time, fourth time you've been sold. Passed from one person to the next, to the next, to the next. And this has been going on for centuries. This is the Arab slave trade. 14 to 18 million Africans. The system is so effective at erasing human beings that almost no descendants survive to tell this story. And if the history matters to you, which it should, then you'll keep digging. We know about the transatlantic slave trade. We know about the million Africans sold and transported across the Atlantic. But if we so concerned about slavery, why don't we ever talk about this? It's easy to sit up here and talk about this white man. He's easy because he don't look like us, right? He's a perpetual bad guy. But we never want to talk about these POCs. They didn't end slavery till the 20th century. There's a place called Mauritania. It didn't end until 1981, and I just showed you a video. They got slaves right there right now, and it's 2026. Do you hear me? Between 14 to 17 million Africans were shipped out of Africa, taken from their homes, sent to the Middle East, to North Africa, Arabian Peninsula. You hear me? And here's the cold part I want you to understand. At least in America, there's 45 million Africans in this country. If you go down to South America, places like Brazil, there's millions of people of African descent. What happened to the Africans that were in the Arab world? They disappeared. They were unalive, they were bred out, they're nowhere to be seen. I mean, in the Middle East, you got 1,300 years of importing millions of Africans, almost nothing remains of them. You got some small communities in Yemen and some scattered populations in southern Iraq and a few thousand Afro-Arabs in Morocco. But what happened to the millions? Where'd they go? And see, that's the darkest part. Again, the men were castrated. What that means is they had their private parts removed. You understand me? That's not theory, that's documented. That was part of the process. 80 to 90%, that's millions and millions of men castrated. Not 10, not 20, millions. If it was 18 million, imagine 8, 9 million of them being castrated. And here's the cold part about it. It was carried out at specific points. They didn't just do it from the onset. When you got to Egypt, to the monasteries, hell, the Coptic Christian monks developed techniques that slightly improved the survival rates. But for every man who survived, between 3 to 5 died from blood loss and infection or shock. Think about that. Some say it was even higher. Do the math. If a trader needed 100 living eunuchs to sell at the market, he might start with 400 or 500 men. You castrate 500 men, imagine that. And the rest died screaming in the sand. And here's what they would do. They would cut it off, and then they would tie it up and they would bury you in the sand in the heat. That's how you would just stay out there. Some people would die, they would bury you feet first in a hole in the sand. That's how they would keep you alive. And they would give you a little water, give you a little food, keep you alive. After you walk 1,000 miles. You'll never be a family man. You'll never have your own family. You'll never be able to create your own community. They aged, they died, they replaced them with fresh captives. The next raid generation. And the women who served, they served a different function. They were kept intact. They were kept fertile. They were kept specifically because what their bodies could produce. What happened to them is a story that historical records tell only through careful euphemisms. There's silence between the words. The writers consider what happened to them too indelicate to describe directly. Y'all imagine the worst thing that could happen to them is what happened to them. These Arab merchants in the name of Islam, right? Arabs. They were businessmen operating sophisticated commercial networks that span continents. They created economic incentives that incentivized the capture of Africans to be sold. Guns flowed into the continent. European firearms traded through Arab middlemen. Textiles, luxury goods, salt, which was precious in sub-Saharan regions. This is what you got traded for. They traded that for goods and human beings. The kingdom of Dahomey, the kingdom of Benin, they played a major part in that. Those are African kingdoms. Somebody typed the woman king in the chat room. Those people, they didn't just sell the slaves west, they sold them east. That's why I told y'all. I told you guys, didn't I tell you? I had a conversation with you about our African brothers and sisters, still people of color. There you go. That's why I'm FBA. You don't have friends. African kingdoms literally waged war with their neighbors, not for territory, but they would gin up wars just so they can sell other black people into slavery. Of course, they'll tell, well, we wasn't the same people, right? But they fed the cycle. More guns meant more successful raids. More raids meant more captives. It meant more purchasing power. More purchasing power meant more guns, and the machine fed itself. Villages were attacked. The weakest were taken. Warriors were surrounded. People came and got you when you slept. Men who resisted were killed. Men who surrendered, they were sized up. If they were the right age and health, young and strong, they were separated for castration and sold. Old men, not worth the market value, they would kill them on the spot. Granddaddy, all of them, uncles, dead. You had to watch that. The girls that were too young, the babies that weren't useful, the women that were too old and diminished in value, gone. They wanted girls between 13 and 25. Anything over 25, you out of here. Anything under 13, you're gone. They didn't leave anything alive. And don't be cute. You understand? If you're a pretty one, that increase your value. Certain body types, certain features. A woman like that might sell for double or triple the price in certain regions. And the women who were desirable, they were separated immediately. They would get marginally better treatment because they had to protect their investment. There were some European explorers and missionaries who witnessed this, and they said, man, the separation left accounts described scenes were unmanageable: grief, screaming, desperate clinging, families trying to hold on to each other for more seconds. This is their final contact before the chains pull them apart, and their loved ones, they never saw them again. One missionary wrote that Those sounds haunted him for decades, years and decades after. He could still hear the mothers calling for their children decades later. No matter how far he traveled or how much time passed, those screams followed. So the Europeans knew what these Arabs were doing a long time before they started. You understand? Again, I want you to understand. These people traveled across the desert. That's 7,500 kilometers. Okay? We talking about the Sahara Desert, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. You understand me? Not 90 degrees. That's hot. 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And then when it turned nighttime, it got cold. So the desert boiled during the day and it froze at night. And the temperature swing killed most people. Water was precious. It was rationed with very precise calculation. The camels needed the water to survive. The camels were expensive. Camels were essential for carrying the goods. Slaves were cheaper than camels. Slaves were replaceable. So slaves received less water than the animals did. Your lips cracked till you bled. Your tongue was swollen. You didn't have water to drink for hundreds of miles. The sand is burning your feet. Food was minimal, if you had it. And the type of meat, you don't want to talk about that. You had to keep your legs moving. You understand what I'm saying? We don't ever talk about this. People were abandoned alive in the middle of the desert when they were too weak to walk further. Left sitting in the sand as the caravan moved on, waiting to die. There was a route they call it, there was a route that was marked by bones. A German guy named Heinrich Barth. He was a German explorer, and he crossed the Sahara in the 1850s, and he documented what he witnessed. He said the road was literally strewn with bones, skeletons. He said in some valleys, the bones were so numerous that you could hardly avoid stepping on the skulls. Imagine walking across a carpet of bones in the desert, bleached white by the sun, rib cages, half buried in the sand. These weren't ancient remains. They were recent. They were fresh. These are bodies that have been accumulated for years. They said that the valley appeared white from a distance from sand, but when you got close, you saw these are bones. He said the skulls and the bones were almost like pavement under your feet. Hundreds and thousands of Africans, perhaps millions over 13th, 14th century, scattered across the world's largest desert. And what happened when the women finally got there? After they walked that walk, all that. They were already broken, their bodies from the journey, the spirits gone. But it wasn't over, it was just getting started. They had markets in Cairo for thousands of years. They had European observers there, generation after generation, black bodies being sold. From the Islamic world to the Ottomans to the Constantinople to the Persian merchants. From the wealthy Arabs from Damascus and Baghdad, traders came all over to buy domestic service, even European buyers. Despite the official prohibitions, found ways to participate. They check your teeth. They let them know how old you are. They estimated the amount of time you had left based on your teeth. They examined your skin for disease and scars and imperfections, your hair checked for texture and length, and then everything else that a woman has. Treated you like livestock. They made the women walk to turn or display themselves in all kind of different ways. They looked at them like horses. You understand? They made cold calculations, and the prices depend on how the women appeared and what they intended to use them for. The woman that would call common women, they sold for little or nothing. Women with desired features, they paid more. Virgins, what do you think they were doing with those virgins? They sold them for more. You understand me? Are y'all learning something today? Are you all learning something today? Hit the #1 button if you're learning something today. I can go do something else. Maybe we can talk about the Super Bowl. Y'all want to talk about the Super Bowl? Bad Bunny, Bad Bunny. I can talk about that. If you're not learning anything, I can talk about whatever you want to learn. Let's talk about that. Bad Bunny, right? We talk about the Super Bowl. Let me know if you learned something. Let me know you interested in what I'm saying, because I spend a lot more time doing my broadcast. Mostly I can just get on here and talk like the rest of these people do. But I try to give you something to think about and do it within a reasonable time so you're not here all night. Well, all right then, let me know. Now again, some women were able to navigate. You know, the African woman is an amazing woman. There was a woman named Qassam Sultan, and she dominated Ottoman politics. She began life as a slave. Matter of fact, this woman was Greek, so they was taking white women too. She was a Greek slave. So these Arabs were taking all the women. She became the legal wife of Suleiman the Magnificent. And this is almost an unheard of achievement, former slave to do. You see? Yeah. But for everyone like that, thousands of women died anonymously. Women were sold to less wealthy buyers, and they faced different circumstances. They became servants. Can you imagine that? You just cooking and cleaning, raising children, and other people's children your whole life. There's no concept of consent and no option to refuse. Now, it's my understanding that the Muslims technically are supposed to provide some protections for slave women who become mothers. All right, a slave who bore her master's child was called a muwalid, I believe, a mother of child. She couldn't be sold after that. Okay, her child was born legally free. When her master died, she would gain her freedom, but these protections required enforcement. And reality was very inconsistent with the practicality, and protections only applied after the pregnancy. Before that, she was property. Children born from these unions were legally free and often acknowledged. Some achieved prominence. You had a lot of sultans who had children by slave women, but the mothers remained slaves unless she was explicitly freed. And over the generations, these children became part of the Arab population, and their features blended with their African heritage, diluted, and with each new generation until it became invisible. And it vanished completely. And this is the final erasure. You understand? Look, the slave trade didn't end with some civil war, okay? No civil war was fought. It's been fading slowly, but it keeps popping up. You understand? It was the British naval power that gradually closed the Eastern African routes in the 1800s. The Royal Navy, you know, the evil British Empire, you know, the white people that we hate, the evil British, those guys, they were the ones, the Royal Navy, they hunted down the slave ships. That's who did it. The colonial administrators suppressed the transatlantic, trans-Saharan slave trade. Okay, as Europeans carved up Africa, they said, y'all got to cut this out. So had the Europeans not carved up Africa, the slave trade would still be going on. Now they said, we're gonna keep them here, we're gonna keep them working here. Okay, but think about that. I want y'all to think about that. But what happened to the millions of people, that 14 to 18, they disappeared. There's no movies about it. There's no holidays to commemorate that, no politicians. They don't have a Juneteenth. Hell, in 2020, archaeologists in Libya discovered mass graves, hundreds of remains, hundreds. And they said that these people were victims of the sub-Saharan African slave trade. And they could tell by the way the bones were shaped. They never finished crossing. They just collapsed and they were left behind. And people moved on. No names, no record, no descendants to claim them. No one anywhere in the world who remembered they even lived. No grave markers, no memorials, no one to mourn them. Just bones in the desert, man. There for 1,000 years. Just a silent evidence of tragedy the world chose to forget. And the Atlantic slave trade, it's 45 million of us over here. And we don't let them forget it. But you got 14 million people erased. You understand? I want you to think about that. Now, I'm going to change course a little bit. I want to talk to you all about that. You know, 20% of the black men brought to, they say anywhere from 20% of the black men brought to the United States were Muslim. You see, a lot of people think that the Muslims showed up to America later, and it started with immigration in 1900, and that's not true. The story that's incomplete. Islam came to the United States through West Africa long before the United States even became a country. Because remember, they're colonizers. That's what they did. They colonized Africa, and some people said, well, let me go ahead and be a Muslim and live better, right? And some people say between 10 to 15% of the enslaved Africans from Muslim parts of West Africa, they came to the United States, all right? Because they were colonized, all right? Islam is not an African religion. You heard what the brother said? Where did he say Islam came from? Did you hear where he said Islam came from early on in the broadcast? Where did he say it came from? Don't be mad at me, okay? Where did he say it came from before you get upset? The brother said it came from the Arab, what we call it, Middle East. That's what he said. You understand me? I'm gonna let you hear it again so you're not mad at me.
Colonize many countries and you impose Islam and a god from Arabia on those countries that you went. Allah was not known in Africa. It was known only in Arabia because
he said it, I didn't say it. Allah was not known in Africa. He said it, the African dude said it, not me.
Arabic language, right? The Jews never mention Allah in all their books. The best you can get close to is Elaha, which is not the same anyway. So, the name Allah is not known by any of the previous prophets. It's a new name, and according to the Torah, we don't need to follow a God that is not known by our forefathers. Now, for you to say we Africans worship a white man, it shows you are ignorant. Why I'm saying you are ignorant, respectfully, is because Jesus is not from Europe. He's from Israel. They are not white people. The fact that some idiots
Now, I appreciate this brother making him back all the way down. Shout out to this brother for making him back all the way down. But I want you to keep in mind the Arabs wouldn't have been able to invade Africa had we got them up out of there a long time ago, okay? And what that tells you about this African culture that's supposed to be superior, y'all some smart people, but your culture that you always say, we don't have culture. Y'all Arabs you African brothers always talk about we don't have culture. But your culture is not as porous. Your culture is like a wet tissue paper because you let everybody in and they come in and they take over everything. I want you to listen to this. You can be bought. That's the problem with African culture right now. You can be bought cheap.
Saudi billionaire has sent an offer to a Kenyan long-distance runner, and honestly, I won't blame him if he takes the offer.
Yeah.
So
now he basically said this is one of the best runners in Kenya, and I guess they're not treating him well. He said, look, I'm going to give you $1 billion to come over here. You understand? The problem with African culture right now is you can be bought cheap. You've been able to be bought cheap. You'll sell out your own people and say, oh, those are not our people. Those are different tribe people. That dude lived right next to you, been living there for 300, 400, 500 years. Y'all got family, but those are not our own people. You sell out cheap. You got a sellout culture. That's the only reason that Africa right now is still a country of slaves, right? A continent of slaves right now. Tell me I'm lying.
Hey, Kenyans abandoned you. Come to Saudi Arabia. I will pay you $1 billion in cash plus 500 million annually. Saudi billionaire marathon to marathon legend Eliud Kipchoge. Kipchoge is a Kenyan. This man is legendary. In Kenya, there should be statues of him in almost every corner. But as you know, with Africa, we don't value our heroes. We only value our villains. I've said this multiple times. That's why I called y'all all pieces of shit who sat back and were begging me and praising me and my dad while we were robbing you and your fucking families. You worthless shits. That's how Africans are. We value the villains, but the heroes, we treat them like shit. And now Saudi Arabia is literally trying to tempt a legend, a Kenyan legend, and if he accepts it, I won't blame him. Literally all he has to do is switch citizenship, and now he'll run for Saudi, he'll become a literal billionaire, and he doesn't have to deal with you self-hating motherfuckers.
Damn, now that's an African brother telling you that. It ain't me. I didn't Uncle D, somebody type family friendly in the chat. That's the African brother telling you, not me. Now, y'all told me when we had our Saturday night fights that it's cool if I can keep on going. So I'm going to keep on going. Y'all told me, no, D, we want you to let us have it. Give it to us, and I'm giving it to you. I'm giving you a conversation that ain't nobody having right now. I'm going to give it to you just like you need it. Straight up, straight down. No frills, no thrills, no chaser. No rocks for you. Somebody type people of color, and you better not ever let nobody call you a people of color anymore. But people of color around the world need to unite. They don't like your black behind. People of color. You people of color. This is what being a people of color gets you. Slavery for 1,400 years. You point your, I'm just saying, shout out to Skyborn. All you people of color, don't you melanated. Don't you let people call you melanated. I'm black, okay? I'm black. Don't call me a people of color. Them damn people of color. You can't trust them far as you can throw them. People of color. People of color sell your black behind into slavery. People of color. But, yeah, man. But anyway, let's continue. Y'all still here? Y'all mad yet? Let me know if you're mad. I need to know if you're mad. I don't know if you're mad. But no, what I was saying was, as a brother, he was a Muslim. And about 10 to 15, they say anywhere from, I've heard anywhere from 20 to 30% of the black men that were brought to this country were Muslim. Okay? They were literate. And one of the clearest examples of this is a man named Mamadou Yaro, okay, also known as Yaro Mamont. And he was a Muslim, and he got painted in 1819. Let me see if I can find this picture of this brother. And if I can find this photograph of this black man who was a Muslim. He could read. I mean, he could read better than the people who had him enslaved. That's the cold part about it. They say we were ignorant. We were not ignorant people. This is a picture of the brother. I'm gonna put the photograph up so you guys can see what he looks like, so y'all know I ain't lying, okay? Are y'all enjoying this, by the way? I know I'm talking a little mean to you all tonight. I know it's a hard way to start a Monday off, but it's gonna be a hard week. Keep watching. This is the brother, his name is West African Muslim named Yaro Mamont, okay? You understand me? He was an educated Fulani Muslim, all right? He was brought over here as a slave to the United States, all right? So that's what he looks like. So now you got a face. So anyway, they painted this photograph, they painted this picture in 1819. And he grew up in West Africa. For all you people who say, oh no, there's no proof that we were from Africa, that's the picture. There's plenty of them, man. Don't stop lying to yourself. But I'm gonna jump on them Indians tomorrow. All you Indians, All you Cherokees, somebody type Cherokee. Who got Cherokee in their family? Who got Chickasaw? Who has Creek/Muskogee? I want all y'all to show up tomorrow. I can't wait to see y'all tomorrow. You think these Muslims are catching hands? I can't wait till y'all show up tomorrow. Please, all you pretendians, please come to my channel tomorrow. Please come here tomorrow. I can't wait till y'all show up tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a fantastic day with you pretendians. I want all y'all to go, all you people who have Indians, and you got Indian in your family, bring your black behind over here. Come on through. Come on through. You're going to have, once I finish with y'all tomorrow, you're going to have some tough conversations with your grandmas and whatnot. But anyway, let's get back to what we're doing. So that brother was a West African, and it was a world of Islam because remember, they had invaded. The Arab colonizers had come to West Africa and imposed Islam on Africans, okay? And Islam traveled across Africa by force, right? It was, and they, and people who chose to go ahead and convert, then they, guess what? They learned to read and stuff like that, but they still got trapped and put in slavery. You understand? But about 1750, he and his sister were captured during a war, and they got sold to a British slaver, and they got brought to Maryland in 1752, and they were sold like property. And he got sent to a tobacco plantation, and over time he ended up in Georgetown near Washington, D.C. And he worked hard. He made charcoal. He made baskets. Made bricks. He earned money. He got some serious money, and even more than some white folk did. Okay, and his slavers took what he made and then gave him some back, and he kept building little by little. And then on August 1776, at 60 years old, he bought his freedom. Okay? A man spends most of his life in bondage and becomes free at 60. Even after that, he kept working and saving. He lost money twice because people died or went broke, but he kept going. All right? And, at some point, he on January 10th, 1800s, the records show he bought property in Georgetown himself. A man who came here on a slave ship became a landowner, and in his own name, and that was rare. Okay, and even with everything done to him, people still knew Yarrow was a Muslim, and records describe him as praying, singing praises to God, refusing pork and alcohol. People around him teased him about bacon and whiskey, and he stood firm. He wouldn't do it. He kept his faith as much as he could, and that matters because it proves enslaved Africans didn't arrive here as blank people. We weren't over there in huts. You understand? They have an identity. They arrived with rules. They arrived with belief system. They arrived with discipline. And slavery tried to crush that out of them, but it didn't. Now, Yarborough died in 1823, and the newspaper up and down the East Coast wrote about him. Okay, people wrote obituaries about a man who had been brought here as a slave, and they said he was industrious, he was honest, he was moral, and they said he was buried in the corner of his own garden where he used to pray, and that tells you something. His life left a mark. So, again, Islam was brought to America because of these Muslim black men who were colonized by the Arabs. You understand? Think about that. And there's another man, his name is Omar ibn Said. And his story matters because he left proof in his own words. He wrote an autobiography in Arabic. It's at the Library of Congress. Let me see if I have I don't know if I have a photograph of him, but let me see if I can get a photograph of him. All right? This is proof. Where these West Africans learn Islam from? Huh? This is him right here. Y'all hit the #1 button. I'm showing you pictures. So you met one, here's another. This is the product of the African slave trade right there. Think about that. You a black Muslim? All right, well, we're gonna trade you too. That's him. So they didn't care. Those Arabs didn't care if you were Muslim or not. Get your black behind on the boat. That's all they thought. All you people of color lovers. But anyway, he wrote a book. He was born in West Africa. He was 37 years old when he got kidnapped and he got brought to America in the 1800s. And in his own writing, he said, before I became to the Christian country, my religion was the religion of Muhammad. And then he describes the violence that took place. He said a large army came and killed many men and captured him and brought him to the sea. He says he got sold into the hands of Christians, bound up, put on a ship, and after a month and a half at sea, he landed in Charleston, South Carolina. And that is the Middle Passage in plain words from a man who lived it. Now, what makes Omar different is that he was educated. He was 37 years old when he got here, okay? You understand? I just put the Wikipedia page. Go on there and look for yourself. Don't believe me. Go on look for all you people who say we just magically appeared here in the United States. Go on ahead and look for yourself, okay? That's what I want y'all to do. Because we're going to dispel some of these myths and miseducations. We're going to go straight up the line over here. But see, here's the thing. People who studied his autobiography said he spent 25 years studying before he got taken. And that matters because it crushes the lie that enslaved Africans came here with no culture. He studied for 25 years. Some of y'all go to college for 4 years and you think you know everything. This man studied for 25 years. He was 37 and he studied since he was 12 years old. You understand me? This is how brilliant this man was, a studied man. Just because they had you out there, you got here, you was picking cut. No, they had to beat that out of you. It crushes the lie that enslaved Africans came here ignorant with no culture and couldn't learn and didn't have a system of beliefs, even though we already knew it was true. You understand? He proved the opposite. He had literacy, he had a religion, he had discipline, and he had a past. And Omar wrote that he was sold to a man called a man he called a small, weak, and wicked man named Johnson. And he suffered abuse for years, and then he ran, and he got caught in North Carolina and thrown in jail. And while he was locked up, he started writing on the jail walls in Arabic. And that shocked people because nobody expected an African slave to write Arabic in America. And that writing drew attention from powerful people. And that man who ended up buying Omar and getting him out of jail was connected to the governor's family in North Carolina. And over time, Omar converted to Christianity, but he kept writing his story in Arabic. And see, that's the key. His masters couldn't read Arabic. You understand? So they couldn't control what he wrote. They couldn't edit it. They couldn't shape it. So when you read his literature, it's in his own words. See, here's what happened. When slaves wrote narratives, it was a white person that interpreted, well, we're not going to say that. We're not going to say that, Tom. No, we're not going to say that, Uncle Ben. No, we're going to write it like this. He wrote in his own words. So if you can speak Arabic, you can hear the words of an African man named Omar ibn Said telling you exactly what things was like. They couldn't edit it. They couldn't read no Arabic over here in America. They could barely read English. He put it in his own words, straight from him, without anybody filtering his voice. That is rare. That is why this story is hit so hard. And so, and the other thing, some people say about 20, like I said, 20 to 30% of the Africans enslaved in America were Muslim. It's even prevalent in some of our religious practices. The Baptist church, you know how they surround the collection plate? That's a Muslim thing. He even opened his autobiography with a verse from the Quran. One scholar explains that the point of that verse like this is only God owns human beings, so no man has a right to own another man. In other words, Omar was making a quiet argument in his own way. He was saying, you have no right to own me. They couldn't read it. They didn't know what he was saying. Omar just, I'm going to say, motherfucker, he was saying all kind of stuff. You see? So just think about that. That book is in the Library of Congress right now. It survived 200 years. Now, I want black people to really look at your relationship in our history, and especially how we talk about Europeans and Jews compared to Muslims. Remember what I said earlier? We always blame the Jews and the Muslims in the Europeans. Y'all get y'all little pens out. Y'all might need to write an apology note to your white coworker tomorrow. I'm trying to tell you. I want all you black folks to get yourself. Come on now. Don't run away. Don't you run away now. You sit yourself right down there. I want y'all to sit down and listen now. Don't run away. Y'all still here? You might owe these white people an apology. Y'all might, I'm just saying, y'all might just owe these whites an apology. I mean, did you hear all this stuff these Muslims have been doing? It ain't gonna get no better. If you don't want to apologize, you need to stop listening now. You need to go on here because it's gonna get worse. By the time I finish it, you can be like, damn, we got it, damn. Somebody type, damn. You might have had Brad and Becky wrong. I'm not saying they did their part. Okay? They did their part. Somebody said not in this life. I'm just saying. Y'all need to take a hard look at these Muslims. Slavery in Africa didn't end centuries ago. In parts of Africa today, it's going on right now. Black people are still being enslaved, and many reports say it's still the Muslims. There's still the Muslims at the middle of it. Nobody talks about it. People keep saying it's the white Christians. They're the reason that black people ended up in America. But when you dig into the history, the picture is very complicated. Slavery had already happened long before. There was already a crack house there. Okay? The crack house was already there. They had already been selling crack before the white man showed up and started selling his crack, and they were still selling crack. So now you got two crack houses. You got one crack house on the corner and the other one in the middle of the street. The one on the corner just showed up. The one in the middle of the street, it's been there since your granddaddy was here. Now you got two crack houses on the block. Okay? Now how you gonna blame the new crack house for the neighborhood going and all these crackheads walking around here? How you gonna blame that one crack house? And the other crack house been here. I'm just saying. Every time the ice cream man show up, you gotta see the crack house, see what's going on. Dope fiends walking up to the crack house. There's two crack houses now. Two of them. Who's at fault for bringing the neighborhood down? The crack house that been there a long time or the new crack house? They got better crack at the new crack house. They doing it in a different way. They don't step on it as much. I'm just saying. I'm gonna leave that alone. But when y'all blaming the Christian and the white folk, they the new crack house. They crack house just popped up. The Muslim crack house been there. They been selling that white. They've been in the slave trade. They've been doing it for years. This is what we do out here. And then the white boys showed up. Yeah, we're trying to do some of this too. How do you do it? Oh my God, where do you get them from? Amazing. You got high quality stuff, bro. Yeah, they showed up late. And then they said, well, we're gonna get out the crack business. Y'all need to shut that down. It's just bringing the community down. And the Muslims like, man, you was all the way 100% down with us. Man, when y'all just showed up, baby, we've been doing this for 1,400 years, baby. You ain't gonna shut this down? Hell no. And the white boy said, yes, we are. We're gonna shut it down. You're bringing the community down. We're moving in now. And then the Muslims still selling crack sneakily. You understand? So who's at fault? Well, I'm gonna let y'all sit on that for a minute. But anyway, like I said, it's a complicated picture. The slave trade was already happening way before the European white folks showed up. on the African coast from 700 AD. Okay, that's almost 1,400. That's 1,400 years ago. Millions of black people were taken from Africa, and 18 million is what they say. And the Europeans got in the game. You understand? 13 million, all up along the Western Hemisphere. You understand? But they never talk about that. Yeah, they were sold by African rulers and Muslim traders. Nobody ever talks about that. They always just blame the white folk and the Jews, just the whites. Even the scholar Henry Louis Gates Jr., he said that the majority of West African slave trade involved Africans and Muslims, and with Europeans making up a smaller part of the capturing process. Europeans mainly handled transportation. They just was here for the logistics. Okay, just bring them on the boat, bring them on the boat. It was the Africans and the Muslims going in there capturing people. Didn't I tell you they sold you dozens of times? You were sold dozens of times. You passed hands dozens of times. From the point where you captured, whether you were going east or going west, you changed hands dozens of times. The Europeans just handled the boats. They handled transportation. They didn't want to get their hands dirty. Just load them up, get them on here. You see? Much of the capturing and the selling happened in Africa. Another fact people want to avoid is where most enslaved Africans actually went. 94% of the Africans sold through Muslim and European traders went to Mexico, Central America, South America. Only a small percent, 6%, came to America. And that means the version of slavery Americans talk about is only one small piece of a much larger system. The way they had you believe all of them came in. No, we did breeding farms here. Okay? The United States didn't start slavery. It inherited from the British in 1776. And Britain didn't start it either. They bought enslaved Africans through African and Muslim trading networks. What America did do was fight over slavery, argue over it, bleed over it, and eventually end it through abolition and civil war. Black people gained freedom through the long and painful process. So when people say slavery is only a white, Christian, or Jewish crime, the story leaves out a huge part of history. And when people give Islam and Muslim societies a free pass and also hide the truth, black people deserve the full picture, even when it's uncomfortable with your POC sound and selves. Let me say this plainly. I want people to really sit with this, man. And I think foundational black Americans may need to seriously reconsider our relationship with white people. Not emotional. I don't want to hear that shit up in here. Okay, we need to look. We need to talk strategically and factually. Set the emotions aside. Slavery in the United States ended in 1865. That's not an opinion. That's a historical fact. And as brutal as the American slavery system was, there's nothing else. Something else that also is fact. Slavery is still happening today in parts of the Arab world and Africa. It's still happening today, right now. Somebody type right now in the chat room so I know y'all listening. In the modern era, while we keep pointing backwards, some people are still getting sold right now. And I want to be honest with something else. I'm going to give you another tidbit of information that's going to hit you upside the head. We also had to be honest about who ended that. Who ended slavery? Who was here when I put the video up? Who ended slavery? Who ended the transatlantic slave trade? Who ended the transatlantic slave trade? Who ended, what group of people, what country, what empire ended the transatlantic slave trade? Great Britain. Damn right. It was the British Empire. White people. Yes, the same people, we love to collapse as the single villain of the world, white people. That was the force that brought this transatlantic slave trade to an end. The British, yes, the British. They didn't just pass laws. They put their warships out there on the Atlantic. They put that fire on them. They went to war with African chiefs who refused to stop selling slaves. They would bomb their forts. They did it. British blood, money, shutting down the slave trade. Yes, them same white people that we villainize. They stopped your black behind from being slave, our people from being slaves sent over here. And if we're going to be honest about something, okay, then we have to start with the dates and the actions. Because Britain abolished slave trade by law on March 25th, 1807. And that's the transatlantic slave trade. And after a long public campaign, and then they tried to enforce the ban in the real world. They didn't just sit up on that says against the law. They put missiles, they put boats out there on them. They didn't just pass a law and go home. These same white people, the same British Royal Navy, they hunted down slave ships in the open ocean. They disrupted slave routes. You understand me? They had something called the West African Squadron. I mean, can you think about that? A boat full of white boys called the West African Squadron, which patrolled the West African coast in the Atlantic. I'm sure they had, black folk on there too, But what I'm saying is this is what the Royal Navy did. We don't talk about this. Why they don't tell you this on your black history? Why didn't they tell you this? Why y'all didn't learn this? If I did, the West African Squadron, y'all be like, is that a soccer team or something? I mean, what? Is that a club? West African Squadron, what is that? Right? Y'all think the Royal Navy is a type of t-shirt or something like, is that like polo? Yeah. And the enforcement wasn't clean because the slave trade was full. It was a full economic system. I mean, like I said, y'all still got crack spots in y'all community right now. Everybody know where it is. Can you imagine patrolling the whole African coast, the biggest continent in the world? Africa had finances, it had ships, it had networks. The slave trade, it had ports, it had forts, it had middlemen. And Britain spent decades pushing treaties and applying pressure, okay? First with other European power, they shut the other European power, Spain, Portugal, nah, y'all can't come around here no more. You understand? And then they had to jump on the African kings and coastal rulers in West Africa. They didn't want to give it up. Like, are you kidding me? Hell no, we're going to keep selling these bodies. They had to shut that down. Yes. And when negotiations failed, Britain put up a blockade. They started raids. They started bombing them. You understand? Britain did that. And that's why you see a pattern in the 1800s where British ships show up and things start talking. People start, all right, hold on, we good. You understand? Britain moved from diplomacy to straight up 100% violence. There's a clear example of that escalation in Lagos in the mid-1800s. Britain targeted Lagos in Nigeria because it had a major hub tied to the slave trade, and the British Naval Force said, look, we told y'all to shut this down, okay? We told them to shut it down, but they didn't shut it down, so they broke them up. They broke them up. They put their own person in charge who was willing to sign the agreement. Regime change. They literally went in there and said, you know what, since you're not listening, you're not stopping the slave trade, what we're going to do is we're going to put our own person in charge and we're going to make him sign an agreement. Another example, the homie, which is Benin. Its economy was totally dependent on slaves and raiding and selling captives. And when the British pressure ran into resistance, Britain used coercion. They used blockades, they used force, which means cannons and guns. And this is in the 1850s. It doesn't mean the slave trade vanished overnight, but it shows that the basic reality, some states have been doing this for so many generations. It was so profitable. This is what their economy was tied to. And see this, and the hard part people leave out is that the British campaign wasn't pure. Britain had built wealth during the era when the trade was legal. And abolition also served British interest in power, trade, and control in global navy. So they did it they had financial interests, but they still shut it down. And they had benefited from slavery. Many of those people in Britain were rich because of that. They had colonies like Jamaica and the British West Indies. But hell, two things can be true at the same time. Britain profited earlier, and later Britain also deployed the most sustained naval campaign in the Atlantic aimed at suppressing the trade after 1807. The point is this: the method ships, patrols, seizures, and pressure, because that's how the transatlantic slave trade got choked out. You understand me? Let me talk to you about something else. America. You know our big bad America, to some of you you unpatriotic, angry people. Hey, y'all, America, you complain about America. Did you know the United States military has a record of stopping slavery in Africa? Guess who? I'll give you one guess. Who you think did it? The United States. Where my military people at? Matter of fact, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about that. Y'all hit the #1 button. Make sure you show me some love by subscribing to the channel. I'll be right back in a second. And you guys, make sure you hit the #1 button. Hit the #1 button, subscribe. Dennis Spurling got the mic on fire.
Black father, I have black son.
Tune in, weekly feeling inspired. From the heart, thrill, talking night. Every episode brings to life. Subscribe, hit the like, won't you dare. Share the love, you know it's family. Join us every week, don't be late. Drop some coins in the collection plate. Drop some coins, enjoy the ride. Come say hi, catch the wave, don't pass by. Let the spirit's always inside. In this podcast, joy takes flight. Subscribe, hit the like, won't you dare. Share the love, you know it's fair. Join us every week, don't be late. Drop some coins in the collection plate. Drop some coins. Donation. I thought it was a track.
Hey man, I'll do what I do.
You know that.
Your ass class, don't come over here. Now, you tall black mother. Women up inside. I don't give a fuck about
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. Shout out to everybody in the broadcast. I appreciate you guys. We got 20 super chats. Well, actually, we got like 17 super chats. We got 3 memberships. So you guys, hey, if you learn something, I should earn something. But in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I got a little bit more work to do, and then we're going to ease up out of here. But I hope you all have learned something tonight. I'm definitely going to get you out of here before the 4th hour. We're at 3 hours and 21 minutes. And I truly hope you guys appreciate this level of presentation and this level of detail. I give you dates, I give you names, I try to give you events, locations. You can look all this stuff up and you can further educate yourself. Don't believe me. I just want to get y'all tuned in to how this world works. And so you're not misled, I don't want you to be ignorant. I want you to be knowledgeable about our experiences. So when people come in here, and this is how this started, I want you all to know where we started tonight and why we went here. Okay, listen to this.
Expecting for my trip to Palestine, but I certainly did not expect to walk away with racial tensions between myself and the black people in our group. And that's really disappointing for me to admit, because I was so excited to go on this trip with black Americans, because I was always under the impression that black people will be our greatest allies because they understand more than anybody what it's like to live under occupation, what it's like to be oppressed and racially profiled. But during the trip, it felt like some people were too busy playing oppression Olympics to fully grasp the experiences of Palestinians living in Palestine. Some people came on the trip with a very limited understanding of the Palestinian people and the Palestinian cause, which is problematic in and of itself. But the most problematic thing was the fact that some people were applying a Western lens of racial
Somebody type some people. Somebody type some people.
Dynamics to a place where it does not apply. I am not going to sit here and deny that anti-Blackness exists in every single part of the world. But the issue of race is much different in Palestine than in most other places in the world. In Palestine, Palestinians of all colors are undoubtedly the most oppressed people. In Palestine, a non-Palestinian black person is more privileged than a Palestinian of any color.
A non-Palestinian black person, you mean a black person from America or some Western country. She said nothing about the black people who are from Palestine. Okay, I want you to be mindful of that trickeration.
And an American, black or white, is one of the most privileged people in Palestine, right beneath Israelis. Some people in the group were too busy victimizing themselves and taking out their anger on all the wrong people to sit with the reality that in modern day, there...
Let me get her up out of here. So basically, she's saying that, yeah, we you know, the black people that aren't from Palestine, we treat them great. They get the Malcolm X treatment. They get the Muhammad Ali treatment. But, you know, the black Muslims that we have here, well, you know, you got to understand they're Habibs. And so, you know, again, you wondering why black people are not jumping to the aid and helping all these people of color in the name of, oh, we're all people of color, because y'all have done us dirty. And one of the dirtiest groups, one of the people that have done us the dirtiest have been the Arabs, and they've done it in the name of their religion. And so I just want you to keep in mind of that. Now, I know y'all have Arab friends, and y'all gonna go down to the corner store and be giving, you know, Akbar the side eye, but this is the truth. And whether you like it or not, you're gonna take it. Shout out to Alabama, Clay Child, B1. You know, thank you so much for being, you know, I guess the 18th person that has learned something tonight. I'd like to have 20 people that learn something, but you know, some people just is hard to teach. And I've tried to lay this down where everybody could understand it, but you know, not everybody is. But you know, again, you don't owe me anything unless you learn something. I'm sure you knew all the. I know all y'all knew all this information before we started tonight. I'm absolutely sure y'all knew everything that we talking about today. Okay, but nevertheless, if you did learn something, then I appreciate it if I can earn something. I'm not begging you. I'm just saying. You know, if nothing else, hit the subscribe button. But you don't owe me anything. I'm just saying, you don't owe me $1. Don't owe me anything, but I'd like to know that you did. Now, let's shout out to the United States Marine Corps. Where my Marines at? Because, see, we left off with Great Britain, and I told you what the British Royal Navy did with the African Squadron, the West African Squadron. Now I want to talk to you about the United States Marine Corps. Did you know they invaded North Africa early in the 19th century, which is 18-something? And they called it the Barbary Wars to stop enslavement of Europeans and Americans. Did you know that? Did you know white people were enslaved in Africa? Did you know white people were enslaved? These Arabs had enslaved white people. And the Marines said, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Look, this is before the United States was even fully formed good, man. And North African states, they call them the Barbary states, Tripoli. Shout out to Simply Cool. Thank you so much, baby. The Tripoli, which is modern day Libya, Tunisia, Algiers. Shout out to Volo Television and Morocco. They had state-sanctioned system of piracy and slavery. And these were Muslim-ruled territories under what is called the Ottoman Empire. And for centuries, these Barbary pirates, that's what they called them, right? They called it the Barbary Coast. These Barbary pirates raided European and American ships in the Mediterranean and Atlantic. And they captured sailors, they enslaved them, and they demanded ransom. Can you believe that? You an American sailor, you from goddamn Tennessee, and you just going on a little boat trip, and they are goddamn kidnapping people and put you in slavery. You a white slave. Your granddaddy could have been a slave owner in America, and you are now a white slave in Africa. Can you believe that? You're a little European and hanging out, and next thing you know, a bunch of Arab pirates pull up and jump out and snatch you up, and now you a slave in Africa. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Damn. Now, irony of that, right? Well, anyway, if the ransom wasn't paid, then the captains, they was forced into hard labor, and they were chained in dungeons. They were sold as slave market. White people, white slaves. Somebody type white slaves in the chat room. Can you imagine that? That's some karma for your ass. Excuse my language. That's some karma. They had your white ass over the slave. That's karma. But anyway, the European coastal village, they got raided. Entire populations of white people were dragged into slavery in North Africa by some Arabs. And some say over 1 million Europeans were enslaved. 1 million white people. This is 8. Can you hear me? Are y'all listening carefully to what I'm trying to say? You hear me? And this went on from 1500 to the 1800s. And most European nations, they just gave them the money. They didn't want to deal with them Arabs. They were like, just pay them. Just leave us alone, just to avoid the tax. But see, after independence, the American ships lost British naval protection, and they immediately became targets. Okay, so we messed around and fought with the British, and they said, all right, you Yankees, go ahead and y'all can fight this out on your own. So in 1790, the rulers of Tripoli, keep in mind, in 1776, America got free. Okay, we fought the War of Independence. So now in 1790, the rulers of Tripoli and Tunisia and Algiers, they demanded tribute from the United States. And they said, look, we know how it is. We know you have new country, but we have your sailors here. If you want them back, you have to pay. This is what the rest of you weak Europeans doing. You pay, we let them go, no problem. Otherwise, they go to slave. They go to work slave like you have black slave. We sold them to you too, but we get good money for them. And the Americans said, oh, really? Okay, got you. Because mind you, this is America. All right, somebody type, this is America. And we don't negotiate with terrorists. You understand what I'm saying? So what happened was, instead of sending, at first the U.S. was reluctant to pay. We paid. I'm like, all right, get this motherfucker some money. But then it's like, hold on a minute. That didn't stop the attacks. It only encouraged them. You see what I'm saying? And so Thomas Jefferson, he became the president, and he said, nah, we not gonna pay you no more ransoms. I'm the president now. I'm the head white boy. I'm the head white man in charge. I'm the HWNIC, head white nigga in charge, right? Hell no. Hell no. Okay, he refused to pay the ransom or the tribute. Okay, he was not gonna do it. And so in 1801, the ruler of what is now Tripoli declared war on the United States by cutting down the flagstaff at the U.S. consulate. Okay, that's an official act of war. And the United States says, okay, we got you. We got you. So we're a brand new country. You see what I'm saying? We still new. We still trying to recover from Revolutionary War. Be like, all right, we got you. So the United States Navy, they put up a blockade in Tripoli, but Jefferson authorized a ground campaign, something unheard of for a young republic. In 1805, a small force led by the U.S. Marines marched 600 miles across the desert, okay, from Egypt to Tripoli. And this force included, like I said, the United States Marine Corps, marking the first time the Marines fought on foreign soil. And actually, the Marine Corps talks about this in their song. You understand? I know they said from the shores of Tripoli. Yeah, this is the first time the United States Marine Corps fought overseas. First time. This is our first up. Like, can you imagine? 600. You got damn this. They marched 600 miles. You make some Marines march 600 miles. It was on. You see, and they did it. Okay. They captured the city. They captured the port. It was a surprise assault. They never saw it. And this victory is why the Marine Corps hymn includes from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. And this line is symbolic. It's literal. They literally sing about it. So shout out to the United States Marine Corps, Semper Fi. But the Barbary Wars were not abstract geopolitical disputes. They were about ending enslavement through force. White people, okay? I want you to understand, more white. Now keep in mind, they still had black slaves here in the United States. They kept their N-words. But they were like, you will not be doing it over there, okay? So anyway, man, that's how the Barbary Wars popped up. So the American civilians were, American soldiers were enslaved, American civilians were sold, tribute payments funded, and we said, no, we're not gonna do that no more. You understand? And so the problem didn't end completely. Because after the war, 1812, the Barbary rulers resumed the attacks. Okay, so we had another war in 1812, and they thought the United States was weak, because that's when the British came back and burned our White House. They burned the house. Remember, they came and the British said, we'll go back and get those Yanks, and we'll get our property back under control. And they went back, and there was the War of 1812. We almost lost that one. And so the Barbary said, we're gonna do it again. Okay. And we're gonna go ahead and start. They weak again, that was a fluke. They were wrong, all right. And in 1815, the United States launched the Second Barbary War, sending a more powerful Navy force directly into the Mediterranean this time. And we didn't negotiate. American warships captured pirate vessels. They bombed the ports. They forced Algiers, Tripoli, and Tunisia to sign treaties ending tribute and releasing enslaved captives without ransom. Okay, so we bullied them out the slave trade. This is the Arabs, man. Keep in mind now. And so for the first time, the non-European power had military dismantled a major part of the Barbary slave. But I just want you to they say Barbary. These are Arabs out here. Okay, y'all should do somebody say your Arab and English accent could be my neighbors. Well, man, I practice. Sometimes I don't have nothing to do. But I speak more than Ebonics, brother. You understand me? But anyway, it makes it fun. It makes history fun. I hope you all are enjoying this conversation. But anyway, historically, this meant the United States fought a Muslim slave system militarily. And the Marine Corps was the first foreign war involved ending slavery. That's what the Marine Corps, their first job as Marines was to shut down slavery in Africa. You understand what I'm saying? I want y'all to think about that. Okay? I want you to think about that. And this helped inspire the British to later go full naval on their campaign against global slaves. So the British said, well, damn, if the Yanks can do it, we can't be outdone by them. You see what I'm saying? White people did this. I'm telling y'all, are y'all ready to write that note of apology, at least partial apology to white people? I'm just saying, okay? Again, Britain later on took the much further role of patrolling the Atlantic with the anti-slavery West African Squadron. And so I told you that part already, okay? But we never discussed that. We don't ever talk about that, okay? We always talk about this as if it's a side note, right? The United States Marine Corps, shout out to all the Marines up in here, okay? I mean, there's still living proof of the transatlantic slave trade. We're here, tens of thousands of us. But you don't have any proof of the sub-Saharan or the Saharan Arab slave trade because the people are gone. They were wiped out. The women were raped and erased through genetic, and the men were castrated. You understand? At least we still here. Now, here's the thing. I can go on and on about this for hours and hours, but I don't want to do that, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the opportunity to thank you all right now, and I'm going to read the super chats, and then I'll finish this thing up, and then we'll get on out of here, and I hope you all have learned something, okay? Again, you see why we started. You see where we started at today. Okay, we see where we started, all right? And I hope you all learned something, okay, about this whole people of color, black and brown unity. Not all these people of color are on your side. Now, let's take the opportunity. Let me read these Cash Apps first. I want to thank the people who contribute to the Cash App. I certainly do appreciate you all. Again, you don't owe me anything. If you didn't learn something, I shouldn't earn any. And I know this is not a terribly exciting conversation, but it is quite informative. Shout out to Mr. Charles Watkins. Thank you so much for the super chat. I mean, the Cash App. We got 24 super chats. Can we get 30? I mean, did somebody, a dirty 30 would be pretty. Because we got 24. And I appreciate it if that's ain't going to be no more. But I'm just saying, I should get one for the accent. You learn I can do a British accent. But again, you guys, you don't owe me anything. I appreciate everybody for contributing to the super chat, Cash App, and the PayPal. You don't owe me a dime, only if you learn something. But I do need you guys to hit the subscribe button because we are marching our way towards 100,000 subscribers, and I'm still coming up short. Okay, I'm coming up short. You know what I'm saying? I need you guys to help me out. I need to get these. I need everybody in here to subscribe to the channel. If you want more quality stuff like this, I mean, you could be wasting your time somewhere else. But I need you guys to give me, oh, wow, okay, I only need to get 92,600. I need 14 people to subscribe to the channel, and that'll get me 92,650. Give me 92,650. Hopefully by the end of the week, I have 93,000 subscribers. But in the meantime, shout out to Michelle Hollock. Thank you so much, Michelle Hollock. 2251, welcome to the membership. You did it 3 times. That's cool, baby girl. Appreciate you. Shout out to Ryu Ryan, 7 of the top 10 countries where modern day slavery. What does that say? 7 out of top 10 countries with modern day slavery are Muslim countries. One hadith says a black man looks like Satan. Wow. Yeah, I mean, isn't that crazy? I don't know enough about your religion. I'm not going to comment on that, but religion has oftentimes been used to sanction, slave activities or to justify people's wrongdoing against each other. I don't care what you say. Kunta Kinte Kazu, Haiti supporting you, brother. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Shout out to my Haitian brothers. I appreciate you. Red Sigma, real history is uncomfortable. It sure is. It should be. All right, we got 25 super chats. Maybe we'll get to 20, or maybe we'll get to 30. If we get 5 more people to give me 3 super chats, only if you learn something. I'm not here saying if you didn't learn anything, I'll just try harder next time. But we got 25 right now. Faquan, thank you for the $5 super sticker. Also, Calaplant 07, great topic. It's time for us for all to be exposed. Yes, it is. I think so, brother. Especially when we got so many people trying to get us to come up off our rest and come help them. Alabama Clay Child B1, truth sets us free from people that and religious doctrines steeped in anti-black racism. Isn't that the truth? Yes, it is. You right, brother. Faquan, thank you for the $5 super sticker. Also, Red Sigma, people of color is FBA erasure language. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. R.U. Rain, Barbary Price tried to invade the USA in 1801. Yes, they did. $5 super sticker for Fuquan. $5 super sticker again. Thank you so much for the. And then also Marcus. It says Marcus IB6DV. This information is desperately needed in the FBA community. Yes, it is. That's why I put it out there. Also, hard-hitting history, thank you for the $10. Torrin Jones, I'm fixing the biggest fried pork chop sandwich as soon as I get up. Oh, man, make sure you call your Muslim friend and tell them that's what you're doing, man. D-Rail Miller, thank you so much for the $9.99 super sticker. Also, Skyborn, woo, this FBA is cooking. Good looking out. Black, red, white, and blue, 1440. Thank you. So it takes a lot to learn me something I had not been exposed to previously. Well done. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Also, Alabama Clay Child, the FBA lineage stands in power because we have always had FBA men and women brave enough to speak truth. Thank you for continuing that tradition. Hey, that's the biggest compliment anybody can give me. You know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, our people perish for a lack of knowledge. And so it's ignorant. So I try to fill you up with this knowledge. This might be the first time some of you all are hearing this in this level of detail. And, you know, it takes a lot. I take this personally. It takes me like sometimes 8 to 12 hours to get these broadcasts together and then try to get them together in 4 hours is you know, and work. You know, speaking of which, if you've been involved in a car accident, give me a call at 713-229-0770. Clearly the money I'm making on this social media is not going to pay me well enough to maintain the lifestyle that I've become accustomed to living. So I appreciate if you all will contribute to my well-being by calling me and utilizing my legal services. And again, as I say, let's keep it real simple. I practice car accidents. I do car accidents, okay? Don't call me if you had a family law case. I'm gonna hang up on you. I'm gonna hang up on you. Your mama if your grandma need a will written, don't call me. If your baby brother's in jail, don't call me. Call me if you've been in a car accident at that number at the bottom, 713-229-0770. Are we clear? Somebody type clear in the chat room. Don't you call. Don't get your big head on the telephone. Yeah, I'm gonna call Dennis Spurling right now. Don't call me. Call me if you've been in a car accident. That's where I'm gonna make my money. All right? I do a good job for you too. But thank you so much. And we're gonna get this Cash App rolling back across the screen again. Hell, I'll put the PayPal up too. But thank you so much, Alabama Claychild. Who else we got? Simply Cool 01 became a YouTube member. Good looking now. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, you got a new member twice. All right. Thank you so much for that. Volo Television, you did a great job. Thank you. Almost finished. I'm not finished. I got a little bit more left. Thank you much, Dennis Spurling, Brother Dennis. I've been expressing this perspective for years, yet many FBA continue to disregard the facts. I truly appreciate your insight, deep knowledge. It's invaluable. All right. Thank you so much for that. Now, we got 25 super chats. Appreciate you guys. You guys are the real MVPs. Shout out to everybody who contributed. Shout out to everybody who didn't contribute. It's all good. I want to make sure that, you know, you guys subscribe to the channel, though. Make sure you hook me up with that channel subscription so I can get myself to 100,000. I think I'm worthy. I think I give it to you live. I could do a lot of pre-recorded stuff, but I don't. I try to talk to you because it's better this way. It's easy to connect. You know, the person that you are talking to is listening to you. It's like interactive TV. But let me say this clearly, you know, because people keep pretending they don't understand what's happening. All right. All right. I've talked to you guys about a very serious topic. And, you know, let's, you know, the anger, the unease many of these folk feel, white folk, European, they feel about Arabs coming to their country. It can't be brushed off. You know, it's not just ignorance and it's not just racism. That's lazy thinking. Sometimes, family, when we as Black Americans hear racism, we just automatically shut people down, don't we? I told you that earlier. I said, when we hear the word racism and we find out which side is supposed to be racist, we're not trying to hear anything they got to say. But see, there are historical, cultural, demographic, and ideological reasons that people are concerned that every time those concerns get dismissed, instead of addressed, mistrust grows deeper. Okay, and I'm talking about Europe. I know we got some people over in Great Britain right now. Since 2015, the refugee crisis in Europe, especially the UK, has experienced mass migration from Muslim-majority countries. Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia. And we've had our own experience with Somalians over here. You better best believe they're doing the same thing over there that they're doing over here. You understand what I mean? I'm just saying. Okay? And see, and they're on an island. At least we have a large landmass. Now, when a large population arrive quickly without meaningful integration, people are right to ask hard questions about social cohesion, cultural continuity, and Europeans, these same Europeans we've been told are bad, right? The same Europeans that seem to have shut down slavery, right? The international slave trade, right? They seem to be worried about these Muslims coming to their country. And I'm not trying to practice, what do they call it, Muslim phobia, Islamophobia. I'm just pointing out some history. I spent the past 4.5 hours pointing out history. Okay, and what we can see is these folk don't assimilate. Now, they're not going to order you to join Islam, but they're going to surround you, aren't they? They have their own communities. They don't share your values, per se. They don't have Western values, do they? Right? Many of them openly reject Western norms and free speech and gender equality. Remember, they 72 virgins for he, a husband for she, right? Okay? And again, history matters. We need to stop lying about history. Islam, or at least the Arabs, in the name of Islam, is not some private faith. It has historically functioned as a political and legal system. Islamic Arab empires expanded through conquest across the Middle East, North Africa, parts of Europe and Asia. That's not propaganda. That's documented history. You understand? Now, the concern isn't that these Arabs want conquest. That's a straw man. The concern is that this doctrine that they bring in with them, okay? This doctrine and this culture that they bring with them, it matters. When people see rapid demographic change combined with religious framework that does not clearly separate faith from governance. Remember, they had white slaves too. Did you hear that part? They had white slaves. Now I know, this is far right. Uncle D's gone far right. No, I just gave you 4 hours of history. These folk have a track record. They did it in Africa. They did it in North Africa. Now it looked to me like they're, in Europe. Okay, I want you to think about something. Okay, is this great replacement theory? Is this exaggerated? I don't know. But demographics are real. Birth rates are real. Immigration patterns are real. Naming data is real. And when Muhammad becomes the most common baby boy's name in England and Wales, what does that tell you? These white folk over there, they see it as a symbol, rightly or wrongly, of rapid cultural transformation. Now, before you go line up with the people of color, because I know it's a lot of black people, did the Arabs do you right in Africa? Why don't you ask those 18 million people over there in those 18 million bodies in the Sahara Desert? Go ask those black people how the Arabs treated them. I'm just saying, before you start lining up with the Arabs, I'm just asking questions. See, Europe has endured some real attacks in the name of these people. And while, I'm not saying people are the T word, I'm just saying. It's okay to criticize Christianity. That's perfectly acceptable. It's okay to criticize Western culture. That's encouraged. But when you start criticizing Arabs, suddenly it's Islamophobia. And that imbalance fuels resentment and convinces people that legitimate concerns are being silenced instead of dealt with honestly. And we're going to do it honest over here. I don't owe those people a damn thing. And no black person in America owes those people nothing. You understand? We didn't have anything to do with nothing that they got going on, but they seem to want us to come chime in and help them fight their battle. So now if it's like me, you're going to ask me for some help. I want to know how you got here so I don't have to help you again if I choose to help you. It's like somebody constantly asking you to borrow money and then they don't want to hear your advice on how to get their own. Y'all keep trying to get black folk off the couch to help you, and we are resting. And so now I'm about to tell you about yourself. So I said, well, let's go ahead and dig into this and see who these people are. And it looked to me like the Arabs are trying to colonize Europe. They don't have to always do it with armies and violence. They do it by taking over the demographics and the culture and the influence and the ideological confidence and that belief within and that system of theology It's meant to spread eventually and dominate. You understand me? This conversation isn't about hate, it's about honesty. And the longer society avoids honest conversations, the louder and the more dangerous the backlash becomes. This is not fear-mongering, this is reality. Now, I want to talk to you all straight about what's going on in the United States right now. What the government reports are actually indicating that's that many Americans feel like something is seriously happening. You got a growing sense among a lot of people, especially those who pay attention to national security, that we're facing real threats from these extremist groups. And a lot of it has to do with unchecked migration. And that concern isn't just coming from social media, it's coming from federal reports, law enforcement data, and documented incidents. The U.S. government includes the FBI and the DHS, and it continues to warn us about these threats, both domestic and international. You understand? These people don't like us. And for all you black people thinking you can automatically just align with the people of color, they don't like you either. Did you just see one of these extremists just shot a National Guard dude in Chicago? You understand what I'm saying? You may not like Donald Trump. You may not like what he's doing on the border, locking down the southern border. But I tell you what, the minute you decide you don't like, go ahead and open your front door and all your windows and just go to sleep. And just leave it like that permanent and let the word get around that your door is open and see if don't somebody come in. Shout out to Yaya's kids. Under Joe Biden, we had historic high levels of crossings. And when you have a lax border like that, anybody can come in. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I think it's ugly the way they're enforcing this, but what's the option? See, a lot of Americans feel like these issues are either underreported or downplayed by the mainstream media and political leadership. And when politicians focus on phrases like, you know, defund the police and all that sort of stuff, but they don't address the ongoing realization of what's going on, people feel abandoned. And I think that's what's happening right now. But my whole conversation is directed towards black Americans. Look, family, historically, these people have not been our friends. Now, that does not necessarily mean you don't have Arab friends or people of different faiths, but bottom line is, historically, they have a certain cultural appreciation or lack thereof for black Americans or black people in general. History says that. They're literally the cause of the death of 18 million black people of African descent who came from the same place that we came from. And if that's not enough to convince you that you at least need to be mindful of who you decide to throw your weight behind when it comes to these, so-called people of color and the oppression they're dealing with, then there's really nothing else I can do for you. I think I've done enough. Well, this is Uncle D. God bless you all. I love you. And as I always said this time, I'm out.
In the Spurling podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe.